How do we podcast? How do we podcast again?
I don't know. I can't remember.
We'll figure it out. I think we'll remember. It's like it's like riding a bike.
you know, I don't know how to ride a bike.
Oh man, so this is gonna go bad.
Yeah, that means I don't know how to podcast either.
Oh shit!
Can't do it.
We should do a new podcast where we ride a tandem bicycle the entire time that we podcast. We can teach you how to ride a bike and
it's
learn how to podcast and have friendship.
Do we get GoPros and shit?
Yes.
Or is that,
yeah, we got to do GoPros that like are in front of our face and then we can't see and we're just driving dangerously into traffic. It's a great idea. Yeah. It's a great idea.
Sounds like something that air on like Vice or something like that.
Let's hit up Vice. I think we can get this, make this happen. Let's get paid. Hey guys. Hey, we're back. Hey everyone. We've been gone, but we're back. Hey everyone.
Man, this is the most awkward like hey guys.
Hey. We know you thought you were abandoned. but we're here. We're back. So okay. Sorry. First of all,
what happened?
Sorry, we've been gone for a while. Sorry about it. This podcast is hard to make. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Man.
We were overzealous when we came up with this idea for the podcast. We had so many adult animated shows we wanted to talk about, and we wanted to talk about them and their history and their evolution in their entirety. And that was so overzealous of us because doing a whole season of a show per episode is so much. And even when we split it so that it was 2 episodes per season, it's still so much work to watch that much TV and talk about it for the pod. It's a lot of work. On top of the fact,
like like you were about to say, especially since like we both have like our own like channels and we got to watch shit for that. Like
it's so much to watch.
Yeah.
So we have lots of news. We're not going to tell you everything yet, but basically we're back right now and we're going to finish up Futurama. You'll probably be getting these 2 episodes very quickly in succession to make up for our months and months of absence. And also because the new season of Futurama is about to come out. And so what we've got here is this is going to be a Futurama 7A episode, all released at once, not in half. Right. Then probably it could be mere days later, you will get the Futurama 7B episode. It's going to be pretty quick. And then next week, as we're recording this, we are less than a week out from new Futurama. We are going to cover all 10 new episodes of the new season of Futurama weekly. So we'll just do one episode of Futurama per episode of the podcast. They'll probably be shorter podcast episodes, but you're going to get one every week for 10 weeks. That way we are all caught up on Futurama. We'll be able to cover the new season as it airs. And then we have a plan in place for a pretty substantial revamp of Cartoons That Curse. And we are both of us and Mikey very, very, very excited about it. We kind of just started talking about it the other day, and it was like how immediately and quickly we all got stoked about it, and like we're all like, let's get rolling, let's get this stuff going. So let's wrap out the old version of the pod so we can do this again. And I think the new version will be a really exciting format, and I also think it's just going to make it so that we don't fall behind, and also it's so that when we don't fall behind, usually we're just falling behind on our other work. It's going to be a reasonable amount of work for us to do, and I think you guys are going to really like it. And it's also going to allow us to cover a wider variety of things than we have been. So yeah, how you feeling about it, Tariq?
I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah.
I can't even, there's certain things that like I'm excited for that I can't like allude to yet, but like
I know we don't want to spoil what it is. We don't want to but we'll probably tell you at some point in the midst of our Futurama new season coverage what we're gonna do, what our plan is. And I think we'll probably do our best to bank some new format episodes while we're covering Futurama. And that way we'll just be like ready to go out the gate. And I'm pretty stoked about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Thanks to everyone who's been so patient. Anyone who's back, even though we've been gone for so long, really appreciate it.
They think we fell out beefing.
Yeah,
like,
there's some people. Yeah, some people think we're beefing, which is so funny, especially because we've been in each other's videos. And we've been
in each other's videos. If you like, my favorite way to respond is like if you go to like, first of all, go to Johnny's channel and just see the amount of videos he's done since we've stopped, and then go and try to figure out how many of those I helped with.
Yeah, for real. It's been a lot of them. It's been a substantial amount.
You know, like we like talk every day. Like it's not.
I know, we truly do. Yeah, no, we're still homies. We haven't had our falling out yet.
Right.
We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I don't. That's why I'm afraid to play Monopoly Monday with you, because I think I think it's going to end in us. It's going to end in me flipping a virtual game board and never talking to you again.
Man, the one last night, I was like hot. It was hilarious though. It was great.
That's the thing. It's like game. I love Monopoly. I'm too competitive of a person in general. Like I don't think I can jump on those streams with you guys. I just don't think I can.
See, now you're gonna make them want it though. That's the thing.
I know,
you're
right.
saying that it's gonna make people so curious.
It's true, you know, but we gotta make people. We'll make people want it, and then we'll sell it.
You know what we should say is, even though it seems like we disappeared, we actually kind of never stopped because there's so many Patreons that we did.
We should talk about that. First of all, thank you to all of the patrons who stuck around, even though our Patreon episodes, we did continue to do Patreon episodes, but they were fewer and further between.
Yeah.
But we still continue to do those. We have, oh good, my dog's barking. Great. She just knows when we're recording.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut it out here. One sec.
My doggy.
The last time we recorded, I was listening back and I was like, oh, I can hear her barking in the other room. Great. So thank you for all the patrons who stuck around, even though we didn't have as consistent of content even going up on the Patreon. We did try to keep it going for you guys there. The pod is about to be rolling. Like I'm really excited. I think it's about to be rolling, and we're going to keep up with the Patreon stuff too. We are currently in the middle of talking about the Kung Fu Panda movies. We've talked about the first one. We're going to cover the second and third soon. Probably after we get these main feeds knocked out, we're going to do these 2 Futuramas. And then I think next week we're going to try to do a KFP 2 and 3 to release on Patreon. We've got almost 40 bonus episodes. It's like 30 to 40 bonus episodes.
My 2 favorites are Ted 2.
That episode's so good. If you want to hear me, Mikey, and Tariq shit on something for a good hour.
I was like mad. Like I was like actually mad. About 2, yeah. So Ted 2 and Gumby 1.
Gumby 1.
It's a great one.
Gumby's first movie.
Gumby's first movie.
Oh man. Which was a weird one it's weird that we did that at all.
And we brought the shit. We brought the damn Blu-ray. Everybody held up their
I'm gonna sell it now.
Obnoxious ass Gumby
Blu-rays. Dumb purchase, but I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
So you don't need to subscribe yet, but we're going. But if you're looking for extra content and you've just been looking at the main feed, it's $5 a month for the Patreon. We've got 30 to 40 extra episodes on there, talking about mostly movies, primarily movies. We did all the Shreks, we did the Paddingtons, we did the Teds, we did I guess we did the Puss in Boots movies, the spin-offs of Shrek. We covered some random stuff like Anomalisa, the Fritz the Cats movies. Right. We did a little mini series about about Matt Stone and Trey Parker's
Right.
other non-South Park stuff, which was pretty interesting.
We did Jimmy Neutron.
We did do Jimmy Neutron very randomly, but that was a great episode. We had a good time talking Jimmy Neutron, and we just did the SpongeBob trilogy, which was really interesting to talk about. I had never really watched the first one in its entirety until the pod. I had seen the second in theaters. It was interesting. It was an interesting journey, but we got so many Patreon episodes up. Right. We're going to have more come in, and our main feed is just going to be pretty much from here on out consistent. It's going to be good, and we're really excited. We're really excited about the future of the podcast for the first time in a while, I think, because we were both exhausted by how much we had to watch for this. And so keep an eye out. Enjoy these last 2 episodes of the previous format are going to be this one and the next one. Classic CTC. Mm-hmm. And you know what? We're still going to, even when we switch our format, I think you can still expect us to cover things like when the next set of Futurama episodes comes out next year, we'll probably cover those. We'll probably cover those as they come out, just like we did. Just like we're going to do with this set. We'll see how it goes, but we don't want to completely abandon this, like, especially Futurama. The podcast started with Futurama. I think it's pretty fitting that it's going to end this format with Futurama, and we don't want to just have. It would be a bummer for us to just ignore the last chunk of episodes. If we've covered all of Futurama except for whatever's coming out, so we'll make sure we cover that in some format. I think episodically will be most likely what we do. But I'm really excited. Can't give away too much. Very excited for both new Futurama and for the new format of the podcast. You got anything else before we move in?
We back, y'all. That's it.
We did it. We're back.
Yeah,
God.
We're back, y'all.
All right. Let's cue the theme song.
I've been watching them for years. It's always been something that fit with all the animated characters that's doing their own bits. With a fry who's in the future and a family guy that sucks. With a father from a hill, a burger family runs them up. The show inspires is the same guy, except he totally safe. And diverse.
Let's watch cartoons that curse.
Yeah, that's bananas.
That's rough.
What the f*** is up, everybody? Welcome to Cartoons That Curse. I almost said After Dark because I'm used to us doing After Dark, but we're back. This is just regular ass Cartoons That Curse.
Fuck yeah.
We're back. We are back. As you know, or maybe you forgot because it's been so long. This is the Cartoons That Curse podcast. Is the podcast that talks about all your favorite adult animated shows, all our favorite adult animated shows. The cartoons that say swears. Our favorite ones. Sometimes they say fuck. Not all of them say fuck. Some of them do. Most of the time it's bleeped. Sometimes it's not, depending on the show. But we're back. We're back. I'm Johnny. I'm sorry. I'm fumbling because it's been a while. But we're back. This is Cartoons That Curse. I am Johnny, one of your co-hosts, here with the other co-host, Tariq.
Yeah.
How you doing? Tariq, how are you?
I'm feels good to be back.
Yeah.
It feels good to show back up the work.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah.
I've
been
sick leave.
Man, our boss was mad. Which is you guys. You guys were not stoked.
What a podcast.
Oh man.
There it is.
And as you know, the current format of the show is that we talk about our favorite adult animated series one season at a time. Though that will change soon, but that's okay. We're wrapping it out, and we're very excited to finish up the original-ish run of Futurama. The second, the third run. I don't know, man.
What are there? I was explaining this to my roommate earlier. Because I was saying, like, I said, no, this is the this is the first reboot, but then I thought about it. I'm like, no, I mean technically it's the second. So like that means the one that's coming out is the third one.
No, it's kind of The one that's yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
the
the one
is
that's
like the
coming
third
out
one.
is the third because the
Yeah.
first reboot is the movies, and then
Mhm.
like really, the thing I consider them separate eras because they made those movies so differently than they make the show.
And they didn't
They
know,
like
right? Like they didn't
yeah
know.
they
Yeah.
well they went to them and like they were like, well, what if we did a movie? And they were like, they kind of overzealously were like, what if we did 4 movies? And
Mhm.
Fox was like, yeah, let's do it. And that basically just turns into a season. But the way
Mhm.
they did the movies is that they basically had a small room of a handful of their original writers, and then they broke stories, and then they gave out each movie to different writers, with the exception of like Bender's Game, which has a few writers on different episodes of that movie or whatever, which is like the least movie of the movies.
Mhm.
And then when they basically, those were DVD movies. They ended up airing episodically on Comedy Central, and those did well enough that Comedy Central said, all right, let's do new seasons on Comedy Central. So then when they came back on Comedy Central, that's a whole new thing. It's a cheaper budget, so they have a smaller writers room, but it's a writers room again. It's not this weird little mini room where they then had people go out and write the movies. It's a slightly different thing.
Right.
So those are all different eras. And now, it's been 10 years since the end of this Comedy Central era. And we are now about to enter the Hulu era, which has a whole
Whatever the fuck that
new,
means.
not a whole new writing staff, but it's like a handful of new writers and a handful of old writers, which personally I like to see. Big fan of that, because I don't know. I mean, like all these, it's just like good to get new blood in there. And,
Absolutely.
and these people write the same thing for so long. You can only, it's hard. It's hard to just keep coming up with new stuff. So, but here we are to talk about. Basically, this is the first episodes of the second production season of the Comedy Central era.
Mhm.
So, if you're not familiar, Comedy Central picked them up for 2 production cycles over the course of 4 years, and they aired them. So they aired them over 4 years, 13 episodes a year for 4 years, but they produced them 26 at a time. So this was the first set of the second pickup. They did the first 26 episodes. Comedy Central said it did well enough. Let's do another 26. And so these are the first in that set. And it aired in 2012, June 2012. Some of these episodes are very topical for that time. You will see.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, Comedy Central mostly aired them in the proper order. There's one that they flipped around. They flipped 2 episodes around in this set, and then the next set they flipped a few around as well. It's kind of weird how they did that sometimes, but it's not as bad as Fox, who flipped everything around horribly.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Futurama season 7, aka if you're watching in broadcast seasons, I believe this is season 9. This is season 9. If you're watching on Hulu, if you're watching anywhere that's not the DVDs, it's season 9. And whatever. It's annoying that the new season coming out is going to be, everyone's going to know it as season 11. Yeah. Because there's nowhere. It's like just there's nowhere that's going to like acknowledge it as its proper season. But that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. How are you feeling back? How are you feeling coming back? What was it like to start watching Futurama again after all this time? And then these are most of the episodes you like kind of haven't seen, right?
I have seen one. Is that really it?
Just one.
I think I've only seen one of these before.
Wow.
It was a Farewell to Arms. Oh no, in Zap Dingbat, I've seen that. Other than that, I haven't seen any of these.
It's an interesting run of episodes. Yeah, how you feeling?
No, I mean like it was like it was cool because like like I like this first one. So like I was like, okay, we didn't start on something where like I'm instantly like, oh no, you know what I mean?
Dude,
so that was good.
I actually really like the first one back.
It's
in this
good.
season.
It's good. I liked it.
I
It's
think
good.
it's it. I mean, not to like spoil. Oh, I haven't even done my ranking yet. Not to spoil it, but it might be my favorite of the season. It's. I really
It's up there
like the
for
bots
me.
and the bees. This has in general been my least favorite stretch of Futurama.
Mm.
In my memory, I watched
And
the show a bunch
haven't
of
seen it
times.
now. Haven't seen it now. I get
Yeah. And you know
it.
what? Like I do think there's an argument that the next stretch, the next 13 are comparable, but I think the next stretch ends so strong that it's really hard for me to say it's worse than this stretch. Like it just
Sure.
ends like on like banger after banger after banger. Like the last four are just like have such strong stuff in them that it's so hard for me to say that's worse. And then there's a couple. There are some stinkers coming up in the next 13, but there's some good stuff in there. There's some fun stuff in there. And this on rewatch, though, I will say this time there was a couple episodes that I had never really like cared about. That I was always kind of like, yeah, whatever. And that kind of did more for me this time. That I enjoyed a
Nice.
little more than usual. So I'm excited to talk about them. You want to jump into the bots and the bees?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All
Oh
right.
shit.
First step of the season is the bots and the bees. And I think it starts funny with with Farnsworth doing like the Planet Express signal and everyone
Yeah.
just like scrambling to get to work.
I wrote that this is a really iconic way to start a season.
Right,
Like
for
it's
sure.
really it has like so much like we're back energy. Like
Right.
I like it a lot.
Did you notice the when Hermes leaves his house? Did you notice peeking out
Oh,
of
Barbados
yeah,
Slim?
Barbados. Oh
Yeah.
man, what are they doing to my man Hermes?
Because like I almost took a note of that because I do hate the whole like is LaBarbara cheating on Hermes? It's like, oh, come on, don't do that. Like,
I know,
my man
man. I
Hermes.
know. And then
Yeah.
there's an episode later in the season that's like a good Hermes LeBarbre app,
Mm-hmm.
and so like it's kind of like do we need that joke anymore? Do we need to keep doing that? You know?
I didn't even think about that because I do the one you're talking about I do like, and I was like it's probably like I think it's one of the better ones of this for sure.
For sure.
And I remember seeing it because at first I thought it was gonna go like a different route. But the way it decided, because of something Hermes does, we'll talk about it. But it's because of something Hermes does. I was like, oh no, don't do this. But they didn't, and I was like, okay,
Right.
cool.
For sure, I'm excited to
Yeah.
get there. This one, yeah, this opening is crazy. I like. How do you feel about the joke where they're like the ship is getting eaten by the atomic spider and there's no time for this. And they just don't show how they get out.
I think that's fun. I like that. I like shit like that. It's pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
There's a lot of stuff in this, especially like in the next one, in a couple of different episodes this season that like can kind of like I guess like back this up in my brain. But when I was watching it, this is the most Futurama has ever felt like Family Guy to me. And there's a couple instances where I can like say like, see, because like this is like a Family Guy thing, and that's like and this is that was kind of one of them where it's like because they do shit like that on Family Guy all the time,
sure.
where it's just like it doesn't matter how they left, it's just the fact that they left.
That's really interesting. If you think of any more moments while we watch through these, let me know. I want to hear which ones you feel that way about. And then the professor, he only was calling them in because he got a new soda machine,
right?
Which is pretty much the whole idea of this episode. Is they get this soda machine. Bev, played by Wanda Sykes.
Love it. Instantly knew too. As soon as the first line, I said, "Is that Wanda Sykes?" And then then the second line, I was like, "That's Wanda Sykes."
That's Wanda Sykes. I think this is a funny episode. But I also think it's a heartfelt episode. Like that's where really I'm just like, oh, they really made this work. Okay, so I think my biggest laugh of the whole episode though is so Bender's kind of got this feud with the vending machine. He goes out, he brings home some floozies, and then the vending machine kind of ruins his time. He ruins the time he's having with these
Right.
girls, and they start fighting, but then they just end up fucking.
Yeah.
But I laugh so hard when she's basically just smashing him against the wall and they start like it transitions into sex instead of fighting. And he just goes, "Oh, interesting." When he says interesting, I died. That's my favorite laugh of the episode.
There's a lot of dumb robot jokes in this one because this one has they're at the bar and then one of the girls says, "I need to loosen up, hand me a screwdriver." And like instead of the drink, then they really give her a screwdriver.
Oh, it's so good. I like that. I think it was funny that they basically created robot lore for this episode to allow for them to have kids. So Bender and the vending machine have a kid. Spoilers, and and they basically are like they basically do a whole educational video with that same voice they do in all their educational videos, which I love, which I'm pretty sure is Billy West.
Yeah.
And it's just about how just because there was such a high demand for robots that they also made it so that robots could mate and have new robots. Like which is crazy sci-fi lore and very silly. Yeah. But I did laugh really hard during that thing when they're explaining how it works, and they get together behind a dumpster. It's all perfectly natural. that was a good laugh. But the highlight of this episode is his son Ben. Ben is so cute. I love that little robot so much.
And then he grows up super fast.
Yeah, super fast.
Which is funny.
I think they wanted to go through the whole life cycle. It's interesting. This is an example of something where I'm like, it works for this episode because of where they land. But I like when the episode adds some slight status quo shifts. You know what I mean? It would have been cool if this kid was like around. You know what I mean?
That's what I wrote that in my notes. Like, because I felt the ending is like real bittersweet. Is because not even just in because in the text it's bittersweet, right? Like he got what he wanted, but he doesn't remember his dad. You know what I mean? Like that's in itself is like a great ending, but it's also like extremely status quo with him. Like, oh, this is very like early 2000s adult animated show of you to do something like that.
And it's going to be really interesting because we know from the titles of the upcoming ones, we've got the episode Children of a Lesser Bog, and according to the press release, it's about Kif and Amy's tadpoles finally after 20 years coming up from the surface out of the swamp after Kif gets knocked up a notch. So it'll be interesting to see, are they going to like stick around? Are they going to be ongoing characters is it Kif and Amy going to have a family moving forward, or are they going to do their normal thing and status quo it back,
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see if they've changed their tune on how they want to do stuff. But it's also like they didn't always do that. Like they introduced Dwight and Cupert, and those are characters who have been ongoing. So
I think Dwight is different because the implication is that Dwight was just like always there. He just like never.
Yeah, he just wasn't introduced. Right.
Yeah. But like Cupert, like there's like a whole origin episode for him.
But the other thing about Cupert is that they basically had the idea and plan for Cupert
that's true.
Immediately, and they just didn't have a plan. They just didn't have a great way to introduce him earlier. So he wasn't really something they came up with. It was an idea that they had the whole time. So it's a little bit different. But
which I'm finding out shows just kind of do that. Like they'll have this character idea, and then they won't show up for like seasons, but it'll be in like the pitch. There's a Phineas and Ferb character that's like that.
Really?
Played by Fix It Felix, Jack.
McBrayer.
Yeah. And he fucking hate it. Fucking hate that character. Jack's great. No, he's great. But the character is fucking shit. His name's Irving. But
That's funny.
he was in the pitch. If you look at old documents of like Phineas and Ferb, he's in like all the pitch drawings and shit.
That's crazy. Wow. I in Avatar: The Last Airbender, they had drawn in their initial pitch, in their earliest sketches for the first show, they had drawn the polar bear dog that wouldn't be a character or an animal until the second show, till The Legend of Korra. They didn't use it at all in the first show. So yeah, it's crazy how many ideas they bring back around later. Yeah. Okay, so I think my favorite sequence in this episode, though, the montage of Bender and Ben, just like it's you don't get sweet Bender stuff much.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
It's really good. Them robbing a bank together is so cute and funny.
He loves that kid. Like he loves
that kid.
That's my like. There's not even like, because what episode is that?
It's in.
I used to know it by
with
name.
his first kid.
The orphans. I used to know it by name.
The orphans is it's the one with
mutant. No, no.
It's the one with Leela and Adlai Atkins or whatever. Oh my god, what's it called? The Cyber House Rules, right? Is that it? No?
Is that what's that? What part is that?
The Cyber House Rules?
Is that the name of it?
I think so.
Oh, is it really?
Yep. I think so. Bender adopts 12 orphans?
Yeah.
The one when he adopts all the orphans? Yeah. It is the Cyber House Rules. I had to access my Infosphere databanks in my brain.
But that's one of those episodes where like the orphans love Bender, but he's so like the gag is how neglectful he is.
But they got that. But then they do have that joke at the end where he uncrumples up the thing and he sticks it on the inside because he really liked him at the end. But you're right; he's really neglectful. He's like, I just fed you yesterday or whatever.
Right.
But it's so cute. Like he's like Ben won't stop crying, but he loves bending. It's so it's like it's the perfect thing to get him to connect. Also love that his name is Ben Vending Rodriguez. His mom being a vending machine. Pretty great. Yeah, it's great. Speaking of that, there's that really funny joke after I do think the plot gets a little meandering towards the second and third act where it's like, oh, Bev's back. She takes him away. He immediately goes and breaks him back out and gets him back, and then they're on the run. It's like it's just a lot going on.
I feel you. It's not because that's kind of a problem I have with most of this run. It's not as bad as like a few of these other ones, but I give it what you mean.
There's definitely some in this stretch that are meandering episodes. Right. I'll say. I think there's a really funny joke when they're escaping and Bender goes, "There's a dam." And then Ben goes, "Damn." And he goes, "There's a great." Pretty great joke.
I like that.
Great
joke. I get it.
Great joke. It's a great joke. It's a great joke. It's a great joke.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh man. But the episode really just like the whole idea that Ben can't bend because he's only got a single card slot for his memory card. So if he were to get a bending card to allow him to bend, he would lose all his memories. Which I think is like even though it's like aiding the status quo thing, I think it's a good, satisfactory, like sci-fi story explanation, and it creates a really nice ending. Like Bender's goodbye to Ben is pretty great. One of the best sad Bender moments we get in the whole show, I'd say. But do you remember? But it is interesting because like Bender should have known that you can have kids because he already had a kid. Do you remember that?
When do you have a kid?
We don't see him have a kid, but we see the kid, and it's when in The Beast with a Billion Backs, he goes to the robot devil to make a deal, and he goes, "You have to give me your firstborn son." And he goes and he finds the kid, and the kid is just like, "Daddy, you're back!"
Yeah.
And he just brings him down to
Okay.
robot hell and punts him into the lava.
I forgot about
He goes,
that.
"Here
All
you
right.
go." Technically, Ben is Bender's second born.
That's true.
And improved as a dad.
Yeah. He didn't like Ben neither. It was just when he realized
The
he liked
bending.
bending, he was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Oh wait, this is a little me.
Yeah. The montage is so good. It's effective though. This might be my favorite of the season. It's a really good episode. A, it's funny. There's a lot of really funny stuff. B, heartfelt.
Mhm.
Like if you get that combo going for me, I'm in. You got me.
Right.
Yeah. You got me hooked.
This one also has this might be the second story in the show where where the B story is just Fry drinking stuff.
Yes. It's at least the second. The first one being the 300 big
coffee.
boys
Yeah.
drinking all the coffee.
Right. That's the
and-
Crack Mansion episode. That's what I call that one.
The
That's
crack
Mansion episode.
No more cheap crack houses for me no more.
It's good shit. I like that.
Yeah. And
when
he just can't stop drinking Slurm. But he also is like addicted to Slurm in the first Slurm episode.
That's true.
He's like there's like the joke at the end where he finds out that it's like excretion from the worm, and he's like disgusted and spits it out and then just keeps drinking it. Yeah. So I guess Fry drinking stuff as a subplot.
It works.
It's they do it. They do it a few times.
He turns green. And then Hermes says, "I was wondering who Shrek'd in the toilet."
Who Shrek'd in the toilet?
And I wrote that down because I wrote looks like it's around for another 1,000 years.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Looks like it. There's a few things they reference that are 1,000 years old.
Right.
Yeah, great episode. I really like this one. I think this is such a strong start to the season. And unfortunately I don't know if the rest quite lives up, but really, really good start. Really good start. You want to move on? You got anything else about this one?
What else I got in here? They in one shot I really like. There's this one shot that I really like. They draw Bender's eyes when he's stressed out, and they're just like I don't even what's the word, like how someone's eyes would be red and it would be like kind of like veins and stuff. You know?
Oh,
what I mean?
right.
There's there's like a robot shit in his eyes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I thought that
That's
was
cool.
I thought that was clever.
I like when they get into like the robot anatomy stuff.
Right.
Hell yeah. All right, great. Let's move on to the next one, Farewell to Arms. Written by Josh Weinstein. This last one was written by Eric Horsted, to be fair. To be clear. Didn't say that. Josh Weinstein writing A Farewell to Arms. I think I like this one a little bit more than you do based on our preliminary conversations. I don't love this one. I think the sci-fi nature of this episode gets a little off goes a little off the chain.
They started to lose me, bro.
Yeah,
they did.
It gets nuts. But I like the Fry and Leela stuff a lot in this one.
I get it. And I think it's a great swing. I think if I liked the episode, I would be kinder to the fact that they go really sweet at the end. Because we talked about this before, but
you don't like their arms flying off.
Right. And I was like, all right, let me just ignore that this time. Any bit of it, let me just ignore that and just try to.
I think it's worth it really
just.
And also, the whole time,
I get it. I feel you.
And the whole time, Fry is the whole episode saying, "Take my hand, take my hand, take my hand."
Get it. Yeah, I do get it. I forgot about all of that too. I just remember the fucking arms ripping off and being like, "What the fuck?" So I get it.
Yeah. I also like this episode visually. I think the stuff with the Martian ship is really cool. I like the design of that thing a lot. And I like, even though it gets really bonkers with Mars flying close to Earth or whatever, I really like the visual of like when the Earth is going nuts and everything's like red and like the atmosphere is all messed up. I think there's some cool
Yeah.
visual stuff in this episode.
I like
Um,
I like when it's happening, only Bender sees it and Fry is just like venting and Bender just can't like say anything, and there's those shots of Fry like talking to Bender and just in the background it's just fucking destruction and it's
yeah,
like coming towards them. It's great. I like
it was
that too.
great. I like that a lot too. I also thought it was funny. Obviously, this is still topical because this is a 2012 episode, and there was the whole Mayan
Yeah.
calendar thing.
That was my
But I
first
think,
note.
but I think it works. Like to me, I also like the idea that it's the Martian calendar. It literally looks like it says Mayan calendar, and they're like, "Oh no, it's Martian. It's the Martian calendar." Like I'm okay with topical stuff if they do a good job putting their own twist on it, you know.
I guess
And
so.
as long as it feels sci-fi and futury enough for me, I'm cool with it.
I get that too.
Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. Like the next one we're going to talk about doesn't. But,
Oh my god! Okay, yeah, I forgot what the next one was. Okay, all right.
But this one that mostly works for me. But there are some moments that like I don't love. Like there's things that I think are sweaty. Like I love the idea of Fry giving up his spot on the spaceship for Leela, even though it makes no sense that Leela wouldn't get accepted. But that's the twist. That's the joke. It's like, why would Fry get accepted and she wouldn't?
That's a strong act break too. Like it doesn't end on a gag. It literally just ends on Leela finding out and it's the pan out, and then like Fry, you just see Fry on the roof and it pans out, and then that's how
right.
It's a strong act break. I remember thinking that.
I love the idea of him like giving up that spot, but the execution makes no sense. Like how the idea that she would be on the ship and they would have taken off, and she like looks next to her and realizes Fry's not there. Like how would she get all the way there without realizing Fry's next to her? Like I get the idea is that it's got to be too late, but I think they could have figured something else out because it just doesn't make it like to me. I'm just like
it could have just been like she could have just been looking for him on the ship the entire time,
right?
Or something like that. They didn't have to like. I get it for the gag. There's a gag in there that's kind of amusing. It's like you see where Fry got that picture of Leela from. It's like a Planet Express prom.
Yes.
Yeah,
and for the most part, well, I mean, like this is the run that I find the most frustrating. It feels like after a certain episode in this run, they finally are like Fry and Leela are a thing. Like they're like it feels like there's one in this run that afterwards it kind of feels like especially in the next run, it's like, okay, they're a thing. Like we're just gonna acknowledge that they're a thing. But it is frustrating. This stuff kind of does the whole on and off thing. Like I really like how like they think the world's gonna end, and they're just like, well, and they like basically are gonna fuck because like world's over. And it's like it feels like with this episode, okay, they should just be together at this point, and then they do another thing later where they're not. And like there's an episode coming up where Leela does something that I'm like, why are you making Leela do this, writers? Like there's some frustrating stuff in this run.
I agree.
But it looks to me, I'm optimistic that the next run, based on the trailers, it looks like they're like pretty firmly Fry and Leela are a thing. It doesn't feel like they're gonna be doing. It doesn't feel like they're gonna be fucking with us anymore. And I'm like just like that better be how they do it.
Yeah, like, I can't take it, bro. I can't.
I know it's so frustrating. But this is a sweet one, and then it gets a little sweaty with the like they get to Mars, they build their new city really fast, and then the Martian comes back and is like, oh, that prophecy was about Mars. Mars is doomed. But also they like ignore like Mars Vegas being a thing. Like they don't acknowledge Mars Vegas is already on Mars. Like what about the Wongs who like live on Mars? Like it's almost not like there's so much that they just ignore in this episode, lore wise, you know?
Yeah, I didn't think about. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and there's also a crazy line from Nixon, which granted I know he's like a bad guy, but when the Martian comes up, do you remember his line?
I remember him saying something to me, going, "What the fuck?" And I didn't write it down though. I don't remember.
It's because it's the Washington football team name.
Oh
Because this
yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I
Well, it's
remember.
especially nuts
I
because, like,
remember.
obviously the Native Martians were Native American parallels, but to just
Hmm.
say
Say
that,
it. Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
say
Yeah. Yeah.
that with the slur
Right.
in it, like,
I
it's fucked up,
remember.
dude. It's so fucked up. Oh man. Um. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
Uh.
about that. I remember.
But it does feel like the sci-fi logic of everything in this is just too nuts and out there. Like, Mara's flying so close to Earth that they jump back to Earth is like
Hmm.
kind of neat visually. I love the
Yeah,
shot.
it
It's
is a
really
great shot.
cool, but it's also like, what? No, that doesn't make sense. No. um, and then and I know you don't like the physics of it or the whole idea of their arms flying off, but I don't know, I like their arms flying off, and the
Yeah.
idea that their arms are floating through space for forever, hand in
See,
hand. It's sweet.
but that's some like it's one of them ones that that's some Family Guy shit. They can do
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like they can
where
rip a character's arm off and then
yeah, but
like
okay, like why must I be a crustacean in love? Zoidberg just like snips Fry's arm off pretty
well,
easily.
doesn't he like oh he like
Cuts his
sews it
dick
back
off
on,
later.
right? He
Yeah,
just
he
cuts his
sews it
dick
back
off.
on. Cuts his
He just
dick
sews it back on.
implicitly. Cuts his dick off.
Yeah. But like okay, comparatively, there is an episode of Family Guy that is about Peter getting his arms ripped off. And then and then they kind of similar to what the professor does, Peter's arms grow back like like not and it's like on like they start out as like little baby
Is it
arms,
like? Is it?
like
So it's
this.
like fucking Deadpool.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. It is. You're right. You're right.
oh man. Um, what I do like about him growing the arms again, though. It's the same clone machine as Rebirth. Little piece of continuity there, which I like. I'm always on the lookout for those little pieces of continuity like that.
The next one has some. You told me about it when we were talking earlier,
some nuts
and then I
continuity.
saw it. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, "This is cool," but I don't.
I
give
know.
A fuck.
I know. Like I wish they had done that. I like that aspect of this next one we're going to talk about. We'll get there more than but I don't like. I don't know. They did a bit to make it futury. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. It frustrates me and has things I like about it, but mostly frustrates me. Yeah, I don't know, man, but I like A Farewell to Arms. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I like it though.
I'm not
especially when you look at some of the rest of these episodes this season, I think it's higher on my list.
Look, I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not gonna argue against the arm thing. You know what I mean? Like I get
For
it.
sure.
Like I do think if I wasn't so like I guess like but they're people. Like, you know what I mean? If I didn't really give a fuck about that, I think I'd be fine. And it is like like a nice, like sweet ending that their arms are like in space or whatever. So I get it. I definitely get it. It's just even beyond that, like the rest of it is just kind of like I felt like I was kind of not see, because when I say bored, like there's ones this season that like actually bored me. So I wouldn't say like
dude, there are ones that bore me. There are ones that there's a couple in this season that I actively dislike. There's a couple and there's a couple that bore me. Like where it's not like so much that I'm like I hate what they're doing. It's like I don't fucking care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
there's two in particular towards the end that are just so much that vibe where I'm like I don't care. I bet they're the same too.
Yeah,
I bet they're the same ones. But this one's like, and then there's ones like like this, like we're about to talk about Decision and even Farewell to Arms that have aspects I really like, but also other aspects I really dislike and really just find like stupid. Yeah, and so we'll get there. This is an interesting run. It's an interesting stretch. I think we got lots to talk about. Okay, all right, let's move on to Decision 3012. Probably the most topical of any of these. One thing that was interesting, though, it's I don't think they've ever done this, is the episode starts during the title sequence. Never seen that before.
It does. Yeah.
They do the full beer. They do the full length sequence, which in this run of episodes they normally have the trimmed down, shortened intro sequence. It's the full length, and then the clip is like the free beer sign, and they just go right into the episode with it. It's really interesting. The other interesting thing is you remember how the vice president Agnew dies in Wild Green Yonder?
Yeah,
he's back, but they say he calls him. They don't explain it. They just call him the headless clone of Agnew. So they imply that they just cloned him, and that's the new vice president. It's pretty good. So yeah, this is the Obama birther episode.
Dude. My first note is this just Obama with like ellipses and a question mark? I was like, there's no way this is Obama. It's def Obama.
It is. It's white future Obama.
White future Obama, and it's still Phil Lamar, black ass doing
That's right. They do. Okay, so there are aspects of this story that I like on a sci-fi level, but it's the parallels to the Obama stuff are just so annoyingly blatant. They're not.
Dude.
They're not fun. they're like the whole Earth certificate thing. People demanding his Earth certificate. He's got a alien middle name, Zaxar. I like.
Oh my gosh!
It's like it's just too much bullshit.
Right. You know what? I was wondering, like, it's similar to like when we did like That's My Bush, and you guys like found a lot of the shit hilarious because like you remember a lot of like the Bush shit, like the Bush era shit.
Right.
And I was wondering if somebody that was maybe like 5 when this came out, and it would probably be like 15 now, like if they would watch this and be annoyed. You know what I mean? Like I wonder if the fact that we don't like it is just based on
because we have that inherent knowledge of that whole all that shit. And I think there's like lots of Futurama stuff like that, especially in this era, that probably the answer is no. Like I mean, you're right. If you don't know all of that stuff from when Obama was running for the second time, then it's just would just seem like a story. Like it would just but like also like he was born in Kenya, like which is exactly where they said that Obama was actually born when they were doing the whole birther bullshit.
That's true. I forgot about that.
And then he's still white and he's born in Kenya. Like, it's just like there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, I forgot they do that. I forgot.
But the stuff that is kind of fun is they tie it into the time code from Bender's Big Score, the only other time that they bring that back. And it's basically because the idea here is the twist is that this guy was not born. He was born on Earth, but he was born in the future. He came from the future, and they found like a photocopy of Fry's ass, and it had the time code on it, and they used it to send him back in time to try and change the past to prevent Bender from taking over the world as like a robot uprising. You know what? I need to look up something real quick because I'm also pretty sure. I don't think they're going to follow this up. But the fucking year that's supposed to happen is like basically the year that the new season of Futurama is taking place.
Whoa.
So like I don't know how that's gonna shake out. What year did they say? I don't even remember.
Dude.
Okay, you know what? He came back from the year 3028. So what year? The question is, what year did Bender start to take over? But we're close, man. Like we're
close.
in this. The new season is confirmed in the trailer to be in 3023. So
it's 5 years from that. If they keep running for another 5 years, that would be nuts. But if they do,
but it's also because of Nixon. Basically, Nixon kills people and turns them into food, and then the robots do all the work, and then Bender leads the uprising against humanity. I wonder if they'll acknowledge it, or if they'll like subvert it, or if they'll find some way to avoid it through the new stories in some way. We'll see. I don't know. I think there was, because 3028 is the year he comes back, so it implies that it started before that, because they're all living underground when they send him back in time. So it's got to be close. The timing's got to be really close to what was happening right now, and it does seem like they are like pointedly following up stories from old episodes. So is this one they'll ignore? It is a hard one to do. Like, I don't know how you do that. Right. But we'll see. We will see. But it's interesting. So they like show him come back in time with the time code. He changes history. He wins the election, and then he disappears. Like because he changed history, the idea is that he never then went back in time. He never would have gone back in time to do it in the first place. So it just resets. But I need to know. This is showcased a little differently than what we saw. That's how the time code works in the movie, in Bender's Big Score. But I guess we never really saw like that in the movie. It shows that it's paradox correcting. You know what I mean? Like in the movie, we show if a paradox happens, it just fixes it. And usually there's something that they show physically happening to fix it. This time they show it like magically just happening, right? Like in the movie, it's like they show the Smeloscope smash Nudar's clone or whatever. It's a paradox fixing one. Like Lars eventually dies because they learn that the paradox time duplicate is always doomed or whatever. Doomed, right. And so like so technically Travers should be doomed, but the way they showcase that in the movie is different than the way they showcase it here.
Yeah, they do like a I don't even know like what to call that, but like other cartoons do it where like a character just like slowly fades away after time traveling shit or something.
Yes, like Back to the Future like starts to show that shit, which doesn't really make sense in how it's portrayed, but like they do it. Have you seen those movies?
I have not.
Bro,
everybody in my
we're gonna do those on the Patreon for sure. We have to do those in the Patreon. That's such a good trilogy. I love all three of them. They're good. They're just good movies. They're just good fucking movies. I think you're gonna like them.
I bet. I get comments all the time like, bro, go watch back, because I did that Family Guy video, and I compliment that Family Guy episode that's just Back to the Future, and they're like, what I got from this is that you haven't seen Back to the Future. I'm like, yeah, I said that, bro. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
If you like the Family Guy version, you'll probably like the regular version.
I bet I will. We gotta chase all three of them shits with a million ways to die in the West, because they got the DeLorean in that shit.
And we did the Teds. We would finish up our Seth MacFarlane movie
movie
coverage. Let us know below in the comments if you want to see us cover Back to the Future and Million Ways to Die in the West. In the comments it would be on the Patreon. Would that get you to subscribe? Who knows?
Yeah, Million Ways.
So yeah, this episode too topical. I hate But also, like, you're kind of right. I feel like if someone just didn't grow up knowing this shit,
Right.
wasn't there when it happened, they might not even realize that that's what this is. The same way people watch the Kid Napster episode and don't realize it's fucking a Napster.
Napster,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. And they don't know what Napster is. They don't care.
Right. Because, you know, there's certain episodes of shows where, like, if you don't know what this shit is, like, there's no way this is, like, good to you or cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's an episode of The Proud Family where Penny discovers pirated music. So it is just Napster. But at the same time, the way she discovers it is through, like, a Matrix parody. So
funny.
And they have this new Proud Family now. So my thing is, it's like kids that are 10 watching the new one with their parents, and then, like, probably going back to the old one because they all on the same service. It's like, I wonder if they're like, how could you? I have no idea how you could enjoy that episode without knowing those two things.
Right, without knowing Napster and the Matrix. Right.
Right. So I wonder, like, if you know, like, if that, I just wonder how that kind of stuff translates. And, like, this is one where I feel like it would probably just be a story, because it's not, it feels overt because because they're pointing at specific shit. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But it's also, like, out of the context of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it kind of it there's nothing about it that's like, I don't know, there's nothing about it that, like, you need that prior knowledge to understand.
Exactly,
the episode
yeah.
explains it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's interesting. You know what? I would love to hear, let's just turn it over to the audience. If you watched this episode without knowing any of that shit,
right,
let us know in the comments and let us know how you felt about it. Like, how do you, how does this episode stack up to you? Did that just, like, fly over your head entirely? You know, I get that a lot. Like, with, I did that video about Al Gore, Man Bear Pig, South Park, and I get so many comments that are people just being like, I didn't know any of that stuff. I just thought it was funny. You know? They
didn't know it was global warming. They
had no idea. There's a lot of people who didn't know. Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, though, but when I was a kid, I didn't know, and I was just like, aha, he's saying cereal, because I didn't even fucking know who Al Gore was.
For sure. Because it is funny. It is funny. Like, the characterization of him is funny, and like the idea of Man Bear Pig is funny. They do a good job in that one, making that stuff funny, even if you don't realize it's like, you know, connecting it to his global warming stuff.
Right.
Okay, you want to move on? Anything else about Decision 3012?
One last thing I wrote is that, I mean, we did say that Phil Lamar does the voice of the guy, but one thing is, like, he's doing a voice that I've never heard him do before, which I thought was interesting. But I still was able to be like, that's Phil Lamar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. I actually didn't realize it was Phil Lamar till you said it, until you texted me about it. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, it's an interesting voice. You know, as it turns out, good voice actor, that guy.
Good actor, that guy, Phil Lamar.
Yeah. Great actor. Yeah, and all these great actors are on strike right now. You should support that shit. Just gonna go ahead and say that right now.
Fuck that.
Yeah, the streaming era is fucked, and all of these goddamn millionaire fucking all these CEOs making $20 to $200 million a year, and refusing to share any of it with the people who make the shit that's making the money. It's fucked up.
Did you Buddy from Insecure, plays a character named Nathan on Insecure. His name is Kendrick Sampson, I believe that's his real name. He shared a video of him, like, showing, like, it wasn't a video, I'm sorry. He was just kind of like, he was telling the story, and he was like, yeah, so one day I found out that I had like 50 residual checks that I just didn't know about. It was like 50 or like 80. It was some kind of, like, it was a big number that he just didn't know about. He was like, shit, all right, fuck it. And then he went, and then I think collectively it came out to like $50 or something.
Insane,
like,
dude.
it's
the residual situation is beyond fucked. It's like, I mean, if you're not, I'll just do a quick tangent, but if you don't understand the idea of residuals, it's that these people all make these shows, and these shows are an existing library of content that then gets sold by the parent company over and over again to be aired at different places, whether that's on TV or on streaming services or wherever. So the idea is that if this thing that has been made by all these people is still making money, the people who made it should be making money on it. It doesn't make sense for them to just make money once and then this parent company to make all of the money on it every time. And previously, when it's on TV, they have stronger rules about residuals and how much money actors and writers get when those sales happen. But because streaming has been considered new media and it was new landscape, they didn't have as strict rules. And so people make fucking pennies from when it gets sold on streaming services, even though streaming services are buying them for fuck tons of money. And so like these companies, these studios are making millions and millions of dollars every time that these fucking shows are sold. And then the actors and the writers and the people who made the shows are seeing none of it. They're seeing close to none of it. What they see is almost worthless.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
So it's beyond fucked up. And like, it's not a matter of like, oh, these millionaire actors think they deserve more money, because there's more than just the big stars of these shows. There's the writers. Writers aren't all well off. And also there's so many actors who are below the line who aren't making great money, and they need those residuals to help make ends meet when they're not working. And ultimately, if you're against that, you're just cool with these high up studios, CEOs hoarding all of this money that they didn't do anything to make. The money is there. The money exists. That's the problem. The money is there. It's not about whether or not you think these people deserve it. The money exists. Those people deserve it. They made the things. Like, you know, these people pointedly, the people who are getting the money pointedly don't deserve it. And that's the problem. So, you know, you're just basically arguing in favor of rich people hoarding money who didn't do anything to earn it, and that's fucked up. So there's my little rant on the strikes. That is a writers and actors problem right now, and I hope that they really make shit happen. Hopefully, we'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah, man.
Okay, should we move on?
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
The Thief of Baghead. Okay, so The Thief of Baghead.
I have 2 notes for this one.
Only 2.
Yeah.
I know you're saying you were struggling with it. When you texted, you're like, I need to come back to this one. I don't know if I'm good. I like this one. I think this is a really fun. I like the sci-fi idea behind this one. And it has jokes I like. All right, so you're not so high on this one?
I don't think it's bad. I just kind of was like, I really do think I was like, I think I'm watching this wrong. And then when I watched the rest, I still kind of think I watched it wrong, but it still was like, I can identify that it's not a bad episode or anything.
Sure.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
I mean, granted, there's maybe a little bit all over the place with the plot, but I like when they land. I like where they land with the acting competition and with this Langdon Cobb guy who's like his. It's interesting that they do this whole ego and id story where basically like they're quantum entangled. He's got this other being that is his ego to his id, and so like the bigger his ego gets, it literally physically grows. I think it's funny to try and science-ify a story about an actor's ego. I think that's funny. You know what I mean? But I also like the idea that if anyone who sees his face, like the visual of their just like
it's hilarious. I like
so
that.
Crazy.
I like that a
nuts.
lot.
It's so cool.
The first time when it happened to Fry, like I think my jaw dropped. I was like, whoa,
what the fuck? Yeah. It's pretty cool. I also like I think there's some funny jokes at the beginning. Like I remember laughing at this when it aired the first time and laughing at it again this time when they're at the aquarium and the guy just goes, "Welcome to Jurassic Tank," and it's just like a drowning T-Rex in a tank. That's pretty good. I will say, just as a continuity sci-fi premise, they do this thing in there where they're like, oh no, there's no glass. There's gravity fields at the aquarium instead of glass. It's just like keeping all the water in with gravity fields. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why does glass exist at all in the future if you guys have gravity fields? Like, why do you have glass? Like, if you can do this with these fields, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any damn sense. Oh well. This isn't the first time Fry yelled for the police, is it? That's a runner, right? Help
is
police
it
Fry.
I didn't realize it was. The only one I wrote down is in the finale because that's the one that made me laugh. Help fish police
Right.
I like
right,
that.
in
I thought that was
funny. Let's see, it is okay, so it started in Attack of the Killer app. They do an entire Attack of the Killer app, Clockwork Origin. Someone else says it in Mutants Are Revolting, then Thief of Backhead, Naturama, and that's it. Literally, that's all of it. That's it's literally like a like between 20 episodes or so of the show is the whole run of this runner of Fry yelling, help police. But it's always in a spot that doesn't make sense. Like in A Clockwork Origin, he's getting attacked by like a robot dinosaur. He's like, help police. Pretty good.
Since we've been going so long, we never got the chance to tell. Remember, I didn't know that Calculon died until I was editing for you, and we were doing the trailer breakdown, I think. And then I think right. I was like, wait, he dies? When the fuck does he die? Yeah. You had to tell me what episode it was, so I could use the footage.
It happens here, and then you'll see there's an episode in the next run that's called Calculon 2.0. It's like basically a sequel to this episode, and there's a lot going on with Calculon, but like he comes back in the next run, but he also dies at the end of that one, and so they kill him again, but in the trailers for the new ones, he's in it. Calculon is in the trailers for new for the new Futurama, including a shot where he's literally like launching out of the ground and landing on the set. My prediction there is that that's literally him returning from robot hell and landing on set to be back on All My Circuits.
Doesn't seem far-fetched.
Yeah, well, it's but it's interesting. I kind of like this weird, and this is another continuity thing. Like they maintain this continuity at least in this stretch. Like Calculon dies, he doesn't come back until they do a whole episode about resurrecting him in the next run, and like I like that they will just keep that continuity and make it actually happen, you know. And that is something I like about this episode. I like the acting competition at the end. I think I like his performance at the end. And I like that he actually kills himself for his performance. I think that's really funny.
That's some gangster shit. I feel him, man, because he really, I feel him. He went for it, yo. I respect it.
Yeah. There's a very, I mean, it's like there's a topical joke in here where the ego's starting to grow, and Professor goes, he's going totally Kanye.
I don't think I heard that one. Whatever.
You're not wrong, but like, is Kanye's ego? Is Kanye's ego last 1,000 years? Oh man,
this is like Calculon really died for the it's like Nope. He died for the craft.
Right.
It was just it was for the for the love of the game.
I like that. He really did. He really did. Man. Oh man. I love Calculon. He's such a good character. I should do a video about Calculon.
Oh, that'd probably
the life and death of the life and death and life of Calculon.
Yeah, I like that. Speaking of Nope, I watched Us recently, like a couple days.
You never seen it?
No, I saw it in the theater. I just hadn't seen it since the theater.
Yeah.
Pretty
scary
cool
movie.
But but then watching it after the theater, I was like, oh, I think I get why people say this is their least favorite one. I still like it a lot, though.
I think it's my least favorite, but I still like it.
Yeah, I get it.
I think it's the scariest, though. I think of it's the most horror.
It's the most horror.
Yeah,
I think so.
And also just like the performances of the of the tethered family are so scary. I love that shit. It's
They're
great.
all great.
I like
They're all
those
great.
movies. I think Jordan Peele makes good shit.
Good
Big fan.
movies.
Good movies.
Yeah, man.
All right, you got anything else about this one? Should we move on?
Yeah, we read my 2 notes.
Cool. I like this one though. I think it's pretty good. I think it's got some funny stuff. I like the Calculon stuff. I like this. I like the idea behind Langdon Cobb. I think it's cool. Let me add it to my ranking as I go. Oh no, I already did. I got it because we've only gone through 4. Okay. Zap Dingbat. Ooh. I fucking hate this episode. I'm just gonna say it. I don't like this one.
I bet you do. I bet you do. You know, dude, so I have like a personal tie to this episode.
Okay.
When I was in high school, a friend of mine lived with me and my mom for like a couple weeks. And this was one of the ones we watched. And when there's the part where and I know it's the part that you fucking hate too. I know, but it's the part where like Zap like is with Leela because she is trying to seduce him, and then her mom comes in. But then Zap gets up and he exclaims like "Squidums!"
Right.
That killed us. Like that, to this day, I will randomly say Squidums, and I forgot like that we would get there eventually. Yeah,
That's
that we would
so
get there,
funny.
and I was like, "Oh shit, this is Squidums."
Look, I don't hate the general premise of this episode. Like, look, I actually am fine. Like, I mean, granted, I feel like it maybe would have been more effective if we had just seen a little bit more of Leela's parents before this. Like, they've only been in a handful of episodes overall. If we had maybe a little more connection and insight into their relationship to make this like more effective when they do split up. And, you know, they do it all in the first act where they're trying to show him like really not acknowledging her accomplishments or caring about them and all that.
Right.
But I don't hate that idea. Divorce happens. Leela struggling to go through a divorce like that is I think a cool, challenging idea for someone who's never had parents and then got them later and then is like still pretty new to her relationship with her parents only for them to split up. Like that on its face, good idea. I just hate what they do to Leela.
I get it.
To like how they make her like just completely betray herself in the worst ways for it. You know what I mean? Like it just feels so rude to her as a character to do the thing where like to sink so low to throw herself at Zap. And while she's still with Fry, while we've seen all these other episodes where they're like very clearly together, the person that she hates the most, Zap Brannigan, I hate it. I hate it a lot.
I guess you. I do. So to your point, when watching this one, I was wondering, like, because they're like within this story, there's a real like domesticated version of it where like they don't split up and get the divorce, but instead it's like them on the brink of divorce, and we kind of follow that and like why they should stay together. Like, and I wonder, like, even like now I was wondering then because the episode wasn't over yet, but now I kind of know that like I would appreciate something like that more because you're right. I think, you know, even though they do a lot of heavy lifting in the first act, I do think that giving us like why they should stay together instead of just the fact that because they're supposed to, you know what I mean? Like if you really give us like what this relation, because we don't know the relationship, right? So it's like, what is this relationship like? Why exactly? You know, they kind of give it to you, but they only spend so little time with it. Exactly. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And like again too, like literally up until the point that you're talking about, I was cool with this because I felt like this is not one of those stories where like you see a character like fall in love with a different character and the other character's like jealous, or they're like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of, we know that Zap's an asshole. So like you're just on Leela's side from like, wait, don't talk to him. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you get it. Like you get, if you're not on Leela's side, you at least get why she's like, I don't want my fucking mom. Like, I know what kind of guy this is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But
you're
even,
right. I think the measure they take her to, like after that, I think.
But the other thing that frustrates me about this episode is that it does feel like for the only time ever seems like Zap has turned a corner, and there's not really any, and it doesn't feel like there's anything indicating he hasn't, and it's almost like, oh, I like that. It did Zap just need the right person to like help him see like the error of his ways and you know, do better, and then it's like everything seems so good and happy with them until just very end, fix back to status quo type of like story. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, it turns out he's manipulating everyone, and she has a problem with that. At least in terms of their like treaties, not the people. It's like, it's literally like his relationship with her was good. It's fine. That she had a problem with his professional, the way his professional demeanor is as a captain.
And then he like doesn't do the thing at the end,
right?
Too, like he doesn't even
that's
like
true.
Go through with the manipulation.
I just think this episode to me, like, yeah, it's just got too many. It's got some good ideas in it, and it doesn't commit enough to any of them in the right ways. And then it also just has this aspect in the middle that I hate where you just make Leela unlikable, you know, for the audience, which sucks. She deserves better than that, and they do it again in the next episode. We'll talk about that. Talk about that one.
Well, they kind of do it. They do it to Amy too in that next one.
Yeah, they do.
And kind of worse,
actually. And it's the second, and it's also the second time they do it to Amy because of Proposition Infinity back in the first run of this, where and I think it's the same writer. Pretty sure it's the same writer who did Proposition Infinity. It is. Yeah, I don't know. It just frustrates. I mean, that frustrates me when you got, especially because this show through its run does not have a lot of women writers. Very
right. You know,
almost all of these are written by men.
I was thinking of, that's what I was thinking about this morning, is like this, not even just this season, like this run, but like the Comedy Central run in general is just like, all of these episodes, you can just tell that it's just dudes. Like, it's like, this is the most dude.
Think about Newtopia, dude.
Version.
The Newtopia episode. It's like,
this is the most dudes. Like, yeah, this is the most dude run of this whole cartoon. Because you watch the first run of the show, right? And like, I mean, yeah, it feels like it's written by men, but it feels like it's written by like nerdy men,
right?
Like it just feels like it's written by dorks, and like these is just like, it's just kind of like men puffing their chests out type shit a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
For real. Yeah. And you know what? Like the next run, they, you know, it's a different writer's room. It looks like they have a few more women in the writer's room. They have some of the women who they had in this run return. They have a lot of the, like, you know, classic writers back there, but it seems like they're getting a better mix, and I think it's going to be better for it in terms of characterization, at least. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Okay, I do have a few things I did like about this episode that I want to talk about instead of just shitting on it. They're mostly like small background things. I like seeing Leela's grandma at the 40th anniversary. She was introduced in Mutants Are Revolting, and they just like keep bringing her back, or they at least bring her back here. So like she's a part of it. I also like the xenolinguistics thing has been persistent since Leela's homeworld. I'm pretty sure that was established early on, that she studied the xenolinguistics. That's why she wrote the alien letter that she put up there with Leela to make them think she was an alien and not a mutant. So that's like that's been a part of it as well. They do some good continuity stuff here. Um, they acknowledge that they're free to go up on the surface now, and that's one of the reasons that like there's a little bit of desire for her to go explore her career more, because after mutants are revolting, they're allowed to go up on the surface again. So like good continuity there. There's like good little aspects like that I'm always really appreciate with Futurama, is when they do these little tiny changes and they make sure to pay attention to them as they go throughout. I also laughed that the place they go hang out is the most deaf cantina.
I know,
which is, I know you're not a Star Wars guy, but that's basically a joke, because the place that the city with the big famous cantina scene in the original Star Wars is called Mos Eisley, and so they do the most deaf cantina.
See, because I recognize Most Def's name, obviously,
Right,
but I was like, there's a there's a little bit of a joke here that I don't get, and okay, now I got you. I'm all right.
And it's good. I think that was I really like seeing the cantina. They had some good stuff going on in there. They have the Borax kid back, who is introduced in Newtopia, a really bad episode, who seems to be. I'm just gonna keep shitting on that episode. I hate it a lot. And he's one of the only characters you see introduced in the Comedy Central era who like comes back a lot. He's the Western cowboy looking guy who's like made out of rock. I guess borax probably is what he's made out of. But he shows up a lot. There's some cool things in that cantina. Like they're playing 3-dimensional pool where it's like gravity fields and they're like shooting it in like through the air. I thought that was cool. Yeah, but and then there's like a couple, like one of the people that they're negotiating with are the Yarn people of Nylar 4, who were first introduced in Brannigan Begin Again. When he blows up the space station, he arrests the Planet Express crew because they have the scissors, the ceremonial scissors, and he says that they were going to assassinate the Yarn people of Nylar 4. Good shit like that. But also, how did they
what's up?
I was going to say, how did they double schedule their wedding and their treaty signing? That was a big fucking stupid mistake. Made.
He's just like, oops. Oh, shit. I forgot.
So dumb.
This is ridiculous.
So dumb.
It's pretty dumb. I like Leela's daddy says to her mom, he says, want to give it another go. And I was like, aha. Even though it's not the exact same line.
Oh, right. You know, want to go around again?
Yeah. Want to give it another go.
Oh, man. Ooh.
Sounds pretty cool.
Oh, man. I'm excited to talk about Meanwhile when we get there. I
haven't seen it in forever. Well, I mean, I don't remember the last time we used that footage, but we used it for something.
Right.
Recently.
Right. I can't remember what. Okay, let's move on. God, this is a bad stretch. I just hate these two a lot. 6 is the butter junk effect.
Yeah.
And
what
this
the fuck is this one, dude? I had no idea. What is this shit?
So it's like, I guess Leela and Amy become like pro wrestlers, but it's butterfly wrestling, which like, I don't know, even just on a conceptual level, I'm kind of like, why? And
right. Yeah.
I do kind of like how often they introduce things with the moon redneck. Like it feels like the moon redneck shows up a lot. It is just like, come check this out. And I don't know. The action is there's something kind of interesting about the action with them fighting, but like, I don't know why do we like the episode is basically about Leela and Amy getting addicted to butterfly steroids and just roid raging and just becoming abusive roid ragers the whole episode.
And especially Amy, like because they do all that like good job on smacking Kif and like all that kind of shit.
Yes, you know for real. But also it's Leela saying that, like, so it's it's both of them being pretty shitty. And this, like I said, in Proposition Infinity is another one that feels like they just make the characters do out of characters things for the sake of the plot, not really paying attention to what the characters are. And I don't know, like, I guess at the very least, this episode has an explanation in that they are roid raging. Like, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? At the very least, they also have that moment at the end where Amy apologizes to Kif for being so shitty. I'm glad they do that. And Cliff is just like, I understand it was the nectar. You were like, you know, you were out of your mind or whatever. So like at the
Right.
very least, but it's just not fun to
Yeah,
watch.
no, it's not, bro.
It
It's
sucks.
fucking not. I wasn't, that shit was not Cash Money. I did not like that. I was not having a good time.
Mm-mm.
Because,
it's
you know, I'm looking at my notes too, dude, and like, I'm looking at my notes and like, I have like jokes that I wrote down that I like. Like, there's stuff in here that I do like.
Yeah.
It's just that stuff is so, not only is, okay, let me back up a bit. Not only is that stuff really shitty to me, so where like I can't really like fuck with it at a certain point. Like I'm like, all right, this isn't funny. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like there's definitely that, but also like this is another one of the ones that just like, where the fuck are we? Like,
Yeah.
one of my notes says, how do we get here? I feel like it's been 5 minutes and they're already on steroids. Like it just fucking goes. Like I don't get this one, man.
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
I've never really cared for this one too much. It's just like I don't, you know, I don't even dislike the idea of. I like when they do future sport shit. You know, like I think it's cool when
Mhm.
they like create cool new concepts for sports in the
Yeah.
future. I like in Bender's Game, a movie I don't love. I like the demolition derby they do at the beginning. I like
Mm.
that kind of stuff that they do every so often. Oh, and Beast with a Billion Backs does it too. The like the labyrinth roller ball thing where they're all like rolling on those balls in the. It's a weird one. That's another
Mm.
one. But it's like I
Right.
like visually that shit is
I
cool.
get you.
This one is just not fun.
It's not.
It's
It's not.
just
It's not fun. At a
yeah.
certain point, that shit turns into like a bad time.
And then
Uh,
what they do with Fry is so bizarre. Make
Fan, that's what I was about to take it there because okay. My last note for the episode is they lost me when Fry turned into a butterfly.
yeah,
Like I was out the door at that point. Like, all right,
dude. When he's
y'all
like
got it,
spitting the
whatever.
web out of his mouth and like turning it's so fucking weird.
It's but
Um,
when he when he the visual of him like as a caterpillar is hilarious. Like when he's still he's in the Planet Express building, he's like, I'm feeling kind of caterpilly, and then he just like starts to like nudge his way like out of the room a little bit. I think
yes,
that's
yeah,
I
yeah.
think visually that's funny. I like that. I laughed when I saw that, but like afterwards, uh this, I don't know. They have one of the first shots of the episode is Leela when they're all on the double date and Leela has those like big ass like combat boots and they're heels, but they made me laugh because they were red bottoms. I thought that was funny. I thought it was a funny design choice. They gave her like red bottom like combat boots.
Right,
I
for
thought that
sure.
was funny. And there's the visual of Professor smoking that carrot that I thought was funny.
Yeah.
I think that's good. And oh man, Bender says like a especially like today, and especially like after you know like what it took to bring the show back. He says like a rough. Bender says like a rough.
Which one? What did I miss it?
He says you can work and be lazy at the same time. It's like being a voice actor.
Oh,
Fuck, he say that shit for.
you know, the voice actor said it.
Yeah, right. The voice actor said it.
I was thinking of. I forgot to say this one in the Bots and the Bees, but Benders has a rough line in that one too. When
he does. I think I know what you're talking about.
When right before he gets in the fight with Bev and he says,
Mhm.
I've been looking all day for an excuse to hit a lady. What the
Rough.
fuck?
What the fuck is that?
I know
That shit
Bender's
is rough.
not a great guy, but come on.
Come on, bro. Like, yeah. No, I'm with you. I felt the same way when I heard that.
Okay, let's move on because I don't like that episode.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
This next one has a sick title.
This is one that I've always kind of like generally felt whatever about, and I had a good time this time. I enjoyed myself this time. This is the $6 Million Mon. It is a good title. It's really funny.
Sick.
Oh man. So okay, this is an interesting episode. So it starts off with Hermes doing surprise performance reviews, which is, I think, interesting. I like the joke where he goes to Scruffy, and Scruffy's like, I had toilets and boilers, boilers and toilets, and that one boiling toilet. It's like that's what he works on. But I like the idea that he does all these things and he fires himself. He's like, I realize that I am the least. That's a very Hermes thing. I am the least efficient, useful person at this office, and so I'm going to fire myself. I also love the whole thing that Zoidberg is the only one who's like really sad that Hermes is gone, even though Hermes just hates Zoidberg.
Right.
I like that a lot. But this whole idea where Hermes starts to turn into a cyborg, basically. He like starts.
It starts because he gets robbed.
Mugged.
Him and La Barbara get
by
robbed.
Roberto.
Right, by Roberto. And that was the instance in the episode. I was like, oh no, don't do this, because I thought it was going to be a Hermes like. Emasculated, and because there's
which
that
they already did. They did that in Bender's Big Score. Yeah,
I didn't want it. And plus, like, and what really got me, and I just kind of didn't like. I like this episode a lot, and I just feel like if they like cut this shot or like redrew it, I would feel even better. Because there's the shot of Roberto coming at them with the knives, and he's hiding behind La Barbara, and I did not like that. I didn't like him hiding behind La Barbara.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
But that does also then set up his sort of like thing. He's I gotta fucking step up and like be a man. And then he becomes like, it's like transhumanism basically, where it's like where you start adding robotics to your body. I think that's the idea. I think that's the sci-fi concept is what it's known as. And so first thing he gets is that harpoon chest. Which is funny. And then he gives himself his job back because he has a harpoon chest, which I think is very funny.
I love when the reveal when he gets it, because he like shoots it and then he like goes in and hugs La Barbara. That shot is great. I love that shot.
Right, for sure.
It's a good shot.
And I think it's cool. I like the idea of him falling too far into this like world of just getting more and more robot parts when he doesn't really need them. And like the robot arm, and then he gets the like infrared eyes, and then the next time we see him, he's just a full-on robot. And then also the Zoidberg subplot with Hermes' old body is nuts, where he's just using him as a fucking ventriloquist.
Oh yeah, this I pretty much wrote exactly what you said. I said, "Oh no, this Zoidberg shit is too nuts for me." When he started doing a puppet, I was like, "Oh man, but you know
what I love about it is that people love the act. Everyone's laughing at all the shit he does as Hermes. It's so funny to me. It's so funny to me that like literally in the middle of like one of the big robot crises, Zoidberg does a joke and all of the crew laughs. They're all laughing genuinely at him. It's so funny. But man, like his like scarred up body is so like, I love the twist at the end. So the idea, I don't know if you've heard this idea before, but I think like the kind of parallel to this idea is it's like kind of a thought experiment called the Ship of Theseus. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
The idea of the Ship of Theseus is if you've got this ship, and then slowly over the course of its life, you start replacing parts of it that wear out. You replace the boards, you replace the siding. Eventually, every piece has been replaced. Right. Is it still the same ship as it was? If you've literally replaced every part, even though you've just periodically removed each different piece, you know what I mean? And it feels like that's basically what this idea
this
is
is.
with Hermes
Okay.
until the very end. He's replacing the brain, right? And then the answer is when he replaces the brain, no, he's not Hermes anymore.
He's where
not,
the brain goes.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's why. But I really like that. I really like that twist that Zoidberg does the operation for him so that he can put Hermes' brain back in his normal self and just like return him to normal. Yeah. My last note on this is just, I like this one quite a bit this time. I like that. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I didn't realize how many notes I took for this one. I guess because I really fucking love Hermes.
Yeah, you love Hermes. And this is a good Hermes episode. It's like, it's a solid, strong Hermes episode that doesn't like, he's not just like he's not a caricature in this. He's not like, even in How Hermes Requisitioned His Groove Back, which is a great episode, he's like in the B story, basically. It's about his absence more than it's about him.
Yeah, sure.
And so like this is just a really strong, and then I guess Lethal Inspection is like the other really good Hermes episode when he's paired up with Bender. But this is just like, there's not that many really good Hermes episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one. I do really like. I like the guy from the bureaucracy. He comes and he's just telling all those stupid ass like sex jokes, and everybody's just cracking the fuck up except Hermes. And then he just kind of says bye, and then everybody just applauds. I
love that joke. I love that joke. They love that guy so much. That's actually a return appearance. He first appears in Lethal Inspection. He's when they go to the office of the Central Bureaucracy to try and find Inspector 5. He's in the big like Rubik's Cube office cubicles that move around. And the only thing he says is, he says a couple things, but the one I remember is he goes, "I drank all your whiteout." And then he like laughs.
I drank all your whiteout.
It's a funny voice. I think that's a really funny voice for a character. I can't do that voice. One of the few return, like they don't have many recurring characters in this back era, but that's one of them.
I like that guy.
I do too. I really like that joke. Okay, another thing though, Roberto kind of dies in this episode, huh? Like
he does, and that was my next thing. Is
he's in the trailer
execution?
Oh right, he's in the trailer. He's in the trailer for the new shit. There's also that.
That execution is rough. They fucking magnets and they rip them apart. Oh, dude, that's rough.
And that's kind of a callback too. I guess I don't know, because they did in A Tale of Two Santas. That's like how they execute. That's how they execute robots. They were going to execute Bender.
Oh, right. Because isn't that where Zoidberg Jesus?
Yes,
isn't
and I'm his friend Jesus.
Yeah. Okay.
Classic.
All right.
Classic.
There's another. I wrote this down because this was definitely written by dudes, where Fry is like trying to eavesdrop on Bender and Hermes, and then like he was like, "Hey, can you oil me up?"
Yep. I wrote that.
I was like, "This is such."
But that's I like that because it's funny at Fry's expense. Where like that is a pretty recurring idea. Is Fry being so ignorant to when Leela is genuinely coming on to him, and that he misses his opportunities. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's good. I like that.
I got Hermes, when he's in bed, he's reading The Invisible Man. What the fuck is that about? The Invisible Man
instead of The Invisible Man. I imagine. What is the? Is that a book? I didn't know it was a book before it was a.
Well, the Invisible
science
Man
fiction novel. Oh, it's H.G. Wells. I didn't know that. Classic.
Invisible Man.
Classic.
I know it's a book because there's an episode of Everybody Hates Chris where he has to read that for class. But instead of doing that, he goes and watches the movie Invisible Man, and then his teacher
doesn't know any of the real shit.
No, his teacher has to go like the movie Invisible Man is not related to the book The Invisible Man.
That's very funny. Do you know when that book was published?
I do not.
1897.
Jeez.
Isn't that nuts?
Exactly 100 years older than me. Exactly.
I love it.
We get there's there's a part after Hermes gets all of the shit done, and he said and Fry says, "Nice shiny metal ass, Hermes," and then Bender's just like, he's just like stuttering.
Yeah,
That's
classic.
great.
I love that a lot.
I love that.
I love it. All right. We got anything else about this one? Should we move on?
Last thing I had was that they changed the colors right before like the brain transplant. They stop it when Professor like opens the blinds or whatever. But like the colors are really like muted and washed out at one point, and they look so great. Like they're trying to make it look creepy.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
That shit, I love it. It's great.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got.
Sick. I like this episode. I think it's a good one. It's written by Ken Keeler. Ken Keeler's good at writing. Although he does write an episode in the next run that I don't like very much, but he also writes the finale, which is great. You know, there's not a single Futurama writer who's like batting 1,000 for me. Like there's always ones where I'm like, you're generally great, but you know, everyone's got one that's
even Jordan have bad games.
That's right. Not many though.
Yeah,
okay, this next one frustrates me, but it also has some great stuff I love. This is fun on a bun. I just generally don't like the idea of this episode. You know what? That's not necessarily true. I like the Leela half, and I don't care about the Neanderthal stuff. Does that track?
Yes, I think I would agree, even though I kind of don't even really care about the Leela shit.
Really?
But yeah,
fair.
I think I feel you, but I do feel you.
This time watching it, I've generally just like found this episode annoying because it does the whole like they're breaking up thing. Like, oh good, Fry and Leela breaking up again. Great, this is what we want. Yeah, everyone needs this. And I know they resolve it by the end or whatever. But it's just I just hate the like fake out breakup shit when you're deep into a run. And when everyone's already just like over that with them. Yeah. Just like get them together already. And I also like, I don't know, the Oktoberfest stuff, whatever, it's fine. Like I don't care. They do this is the Orange Joe joke. I like Orange Joe. I know where he goes, they call me Orange Joe. which is funny.
Who is it? I don't he said because the lead-in is like Professor's like, I don't even know any of your fucking names.
Yeah, that's right.
You boy. Who are you?
Boy. They call me Orange Joe.
Yeah.
But this is like the era of Fry and Leela that I hate the most, where it's just like, come on, just fucking do it already. Like, God. Also, like the idea that Fry, like the fake out that Fry gets meat grinded into a sausage is gross.
I was like, whoa. There's a lot of gross shit.
The fact that they even fake out that Leela ate sausage fry is so gross. Like you don't need that.
Yeah, like that was that. This is where I came up with that, like the Family Guy thing, because like it more so in the way of just like, yeah, let's just do this. Like it doesn't matter. Like just kind of being like, well, granted, right? He wasn't really grinded up, but when I thought he was, I was like, all right. He's grinded up into meat, and then somehow they're gonna figure out a way to make him human again, because that's just what they do now in these. So I was that's why I guess it kind of reminded me of like a Family Guys, because there's like no like real like rule of like, nah, this kind of shit can't happen to them. It's like as long as we can write a way around it or out of it, like who gives a fuck? Like I think that's how a lot of these kind of operate for sure. But speaking, like you said, of
I am glad that they didn't do that. I am glad that he was alive.
Me too, dude. I'll gladly take him being frozen again than any of this other shit.
Yeah.
Fry, you brought up the sausage thing being gross, but even before that, when Fry is like, I need more fucking beer, and he just drinks the spit. Come on, bro. That shit is gross.
I know, dude. I hate that. I hate that
I don't like
it. Not a fan. This episode, I don't love this episode. There are moments I like though, and like I like
Yeah.
the idea. I kind of like the end, even like just really the very very end. I like, and I do like, the idea that Leela breaks up with him and then loses him immediately and needs to eternal sunshine herself, basically. Like that stuff
Mhm.
works for me. This is the first time I watched it where I was like realizing how like, oh, everyone else has to ignore Fry's existence because Leela did that. And I was like, that's pretty selfish of her to make everyone tiptoe around their dead friend's existence for your
Right.
own sake. You know what I mean?
It's to the episode's credit, like they have Bender being like, "Why the fuck do I have to do that? That was my best
Yes.
friend." You know what I mean? Like they do have
Exactly.
Bender like do that, which I appreciate it.
But I don't know. I did not care about the Neanderthal stuff. I don't know. I guess I kind of like the idea. It's basically Eternal Sunshine, where it's like, oh, there's still things that bring back, memories, that bring back feelings, that bring back something that reminds me of them. But then the fact that they did them both, so like Fry goes under the ice and he forgets because he gets hit in the head or whatever. They both forget each other. I get that you're doing it so that you find this moment where they remember each other.
Well, I like that moment too.
I like the moment. I don't like that they say orange, purple.
Yeah, I know.
But
especially
I do like that
because
moment.
especially because like the colors aren't necessarily like, all right. The only way I can explain this is if I talk about my cartoon real fast.
Sure.
But in the cartoon that I'm making in Hey, the Nay, she because it's about a couple, and Nay, she wears purple, and it's like a favorite, it's like plot relevant, it's like a favorite color.
Sure.
Like it's important that that's her favorite color, and green represents Marcus, and that's like a thing that like I plan to make go throughout the narrative. So if saying that to say Marcus and Nay would recognize each other based on color because it's like intrinsically tied to their story, I guess. Right. Is what I'm trying to say. Well, like Fry and Leela looking at the color of each other's hair, and like purple or orange were never like story things for them.
No,
or
never
like,
was.
You know what I mean? Like
I wasn't. I just assumed Fry was like a redhead, and it's like to call him specifically orange. You know what I mean? When it's like, oh, it's like he's just a ginger.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. That's true.
And like, and there's other cartoons like I think about Mission Hill where the characters kind of have bluish purple hair, and I just assume like that in universe. It's just
like
the color palette. Yeah, exactly. It's just the color palette that we're seeing. It's not like they have purple hair. That's how
I feel about the Simpsons. It's like they're just probably white, and then like we just see them as yellow.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I do love the reconnecting Eternal Sunshine moment where all of their memories, and I actually went through and I wrote down all the episodes we see. So let me list all the episodes we see. It's just cool. I do wish they had done a little more, like it feels like they front loaded early stuff and then like skip a bunch, which I wish they had done a little more because there's some more bigger moments. But they basically did a ton of season 1 stuff. Like all the earliest memories of Fry and Leela are like they show first to Space Pilot 3000 when they met, then they show them on the moon together and the series has landed. They show them together as robots in Fear of a Bot Planet and in My 3 Sons and in A Flight to Remember. Those are all season 1 episodes, and then they jump all the way to Leela's homeworld where they're together right before they find Leela's parents, which is like 4 seasons later. And I'm like, wait, you're not going to do Parasites Lost. You're not going to do Time Keeps on Slipping. You're like, there's so many big ones here that they could have done, but it's fine. I like this one. They do Teenage Mutant Leela's Hurdles where they're both young again and Fry's about to take her on a date. Love that they showed that moment. The Sting, you got to get the Sting in there. They got him in that. And then they also do the Farnsworth Parabox alternate versions of themselves that are married. They show her looking at those alternate versions. I love that they do that. Devil's Hands, you got to get Devil's Hands in there. They have Bender's Game, which is interesting. They have him riding like Pegasus Leela, which is kind of funny, or Centaur Leela. Into the Wild Green Yonder, The Kiss. They have the late Philip J. Fry afterwards while they're on the bridge at the very end of the episode. They have this was a funny one. They have The Prisoner of Benda, which is when they're fucking, but they're Zoidberg and Farnsworth in their bodies.
That's funny. I like that. Okay.
And then I think they have one, I think they have two from The Mutants Are Revolting, where they're dancing together and where she kisses the like mutant version of him, which turns out to not be a mutant. And then the last one I think is Overclockwise, which is fitting. And also, like, I can't believe we haven't talked about this whole episode, but like all of this will they won't they shit feels like such bullshit after Overclockwise, because the end of Overclockwise is where they're reading their whole history, where like it just feels like they should know. Like, you know what I mean? They should know that they're going to end up together. Why are they fucking still playing this game? Like, that's the whole ending of that fucking episode. I hate it. Just do it. Just do it. This is when they should have done it. It's okay. It's fine. And I do kind of like the end where like she does the chicken dance.
I love the end.
You like the chicken dance? Yeah.
I like him saying, "No, Leela, for once I'm gonna let you embarrass me." I like that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that a lot.
For sure. Overall, like, I think the end of this episode does a lot of heavy lifting for it. Like, it really elevates it to above some of the other stuff here in ways that it maybe doesn't overall deserve, but like it's just such a strong ending that I'm kind of like, you know, this works for me, especially because there's some ones I dislike in this stretch. All right, you got any other thoughts on Fun on a Bun?
No. I think yeah.
It feels like this needs to be the turning point though. Like, and I think it is. It doesn't seem like they really fuck with Fry and Leela being a couple after this. Like, it feels like they're a couple. I know Meanwhile kind of does the thing where they're like, where Fry is just like, all right, we got to make this real. But it feels like after this, they don't really fuck with the audience in terms of are they together or not anymore.
Gotcha.
Which is good. Okay, let's talk about Free Will Hunting.
It's a funny, good name.
Great title. Great title. I don't like this episode.
Really?
Yeah, do you like this one?
I think it's all right, but I was positive you liked it.
No, I think this is so boring. I think it's really meandering.
Okay,
I think
I don't feel bad.
I think it's really meandering. I've always disliked this episode, and it bums me out because David X. Cohen wrote it. And I like the idea. I like it's an existential crisis. I like the whole concept. I like the concept of Bender wondering whether or not he has free will and what that means for him. I just think his journey is so meandering and not interesting to me. Okay, that's my whole issue. That's really it.
I think that I kind of gaslit myself to being nicer to it because you thought I was gonna like it. You were gonna like it because it was like once I saw it was like existential Bender, I was like, all right, let me let me try to get into it because I feel like Johnny. That's it. Okay, it feels I don't feel bad for being a little bored. Then
there's things I like. This is another one that does a little bit of the like, oh, here's some callbacks to the history of Futurama that I like to see. That kind of stuff. Like, I like that it's interesting they go back to Chopek 9 with him having this free will issue, and Chopek 9 is the first. I think that's what it's called from the very first season, Fear of a Bot Planet. He goes back to that planet with all the robots. He talks to the same Tom Kenny robot who was trying to like give Fry some searing hot resin in that episode, which I love. I like that. But and there are some jokes I like in it, but once they get to the free will plot and he's just kind of wandering about aimlessly, I get really bored with this episode. I don't care for the monk robots. I like the mom stained glass. I think that's cool.
Right.
Visually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I like, it's just so like one place to another. It's like there's no cohesive. There doesn't feel like there's a cohesive thing going on with this episode other than and that it makes it hard for me to care about when I watch it.
I guess one thing I noticed is like that scene with like Professor and Bender, and Professor's like, you can't do it. That shit is rough. Like he's so cruel. Like I know. You know what I mean? And then Bender shoots the fuck out the Professor, bro. Like that has to be the opening to the podcast, like the
the
little
clip. Okay, that's a good idea.
He shoots the
I'll make that
shit
today.
out the professor.
Um,
So rough.
There are a couple things I like. Okay, the joke I laugh at a lot, and it's pretty much just John DiMaggio's like killer delivery on this line, is when he's at the trial and he goes, "How do you plead?" He goes, "Not guilty, although I did do it. That's right, I'm bad." I love that line so much. It's so funny. Really funny delivery. I also love I love that the happy ending of the episode is him getting charged with attempted murder.
Me too.
That's really funny. That is really fucking funny. It's a great way to end the episode.
Yeah.
This is an episode that frustrates me because it has so many good ideas in it. It has so much stuff that I think should work. It's a premise that I like, and it just feels the story just feels the script feels too meandering for me. That's pretty much it. But like we saw, we just did Fun on a Bun, and when Bender returns to his apartment, Leela's sleeping over with Fry. Like, they're together. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're together. They pretty much just like are together after this. There's some other lines I like. I like when Bender says, "How do you go on knowing you lack the capacity for self-determination?" Like, I like when they do that with they do that same. It's funny because this is also two jokes written by David X. Cohen, two episodes written by David X. Cohen. They basically do the exact same joke with Robot Leela in Rebirth. When she's a robot, she's like, "How do you like can a machine of sufficient complexion like truly genuinely achieve consciousness," or whatever. They make it like the robot is clearly saying something so smart and profound that, like, why would you even question if, like, you know, what they're questioning. It's funny that that's the same joke in two David X. Cohen episodes. Yeah. I laugh. Okay, another joke I laughed at is when Fry is sad that Bender's gone, and it's like it's got like trespassers will be beaten and robbed, and he crosses out and robbed because Bender's not there. He crosses out Bender and he crosses out and robbed. It's pretty funny.
That's good.
That's a good joke. Yeah, this one frustrates me because it's like good ideas, good stuff, and I just generally don't love it. I love the title though. That would have been a great title if they made a sequel to Good Will Hunting. Have you seen that movie? Have we talked about that?
But
did you know that the character's name is Will Hunting?
Is Will Hunting? Yeah, no. I was just about to say my roommate hates the title of that movie because of that.
It's I just think why just name him anything else.
Okay, wait. Man. Check this out. Are you familiar with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends by any chance?
Familiar-ish. Like, I know it, but I don't know it very well.
Word. So there was a TV movie for that show. One of the characters' name played by Phil Lamar. His name is Wilt. And the movie is called Good Wilt Hunting.
Nice.
So that's what I grew up knowing. And then I was like, wait, this a Will? And then, you know.
There's gotta be a Simpsons episode that's a Good Will Hunting parody, right? Or like,
maybe.
Let's see, Simpsons Will Hunting. Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be a title.
If not,
if the Simpsons in 750 episode has never done a Good Will Hunting parody title, that's crazy.
If not, they on their way. It's coming. Nah, because you know which one they do a lot. They do. There's so many variations, like take my wife, please. Take my wife, squeeze. Bake my life, please. Like, it's like a whole bunch of shit. Like, they do that a lot. I realized. All the ones I said probably aren't episode titles, but there's stuff like that, I guess. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. In this episode, Bender is talking to Fry and Leela on a flip phone with like FaceTime, and it's not dated anymore because they brought them bitches back. So,
But okay,
it
so here's
works.
something though. Like, it annoys me that they did the whole fucking iPhone episode and they don't use their iPhones.
They don't use them fucking iPhone.
That's annoying. I find that annoying.
That is pretty annoying. We had to. Maybe they were like, yeah, this was kind of a fucking bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't. Should bring this.
I don't know,
shit
but it
back.
makes sense. Like, it's the fucking future, dude. Like, I don't mind. In fact, in Attack of the Killer app, the iPhone concept is the least of my issues. In fact, it's almost looking more predictive if you look at what they're now doing with the Apple VR headset, the Pro headset. But it's literally the same idea, other than the iPhone is like put in your eye and it's a screen, but it's like mixed reality where you just see things in front of your eyes. It's the same fucking idea. And so like literally they're doing that. They did it 10 years ago in Futurama, and now it's like it's almost more fitting now. It's actually kind of pretty impressive.
Think about
that episode has other issues. Susan Boyle, vomiting goats. I hate all of that bullshit. The iPhone itself is the least of that episode's problem.
Right.
All right, you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Near Death Wish. This is another one that I generally didn't care about all that much. That's grown on me a lot. I like this one. I think it's pretty good.
Word.
I think
this is the one that I love.
This is the one you love,
dude. Yeah, I love this one.
Yes, I love that.
This is good shit.
That's great.
I never seen it, and when I finished it, I was like, "Why the fuck have I never heard this talked about?" Because I love this shit.
I know, and I had never done a Farnsworth video, but obviously this would be a big part of it if I do a Farnsworth video. So I just kind of forgot about all the like stuff they do in this. Also, it has Estelle Harris playing Farnsworth's mom. Love that shit. Estelle Harris, so good.
Great. Rest in peace.
So one thing I will say at the beginning. Okay, first of all, you've watched I Think You Should Leave, right? I think we've watched some of it together. So that there's a sketch in like the first episode that's so funny where it's like the baby of the year competition. And they do this thing in that where they do an in memoriam, and in the in memoriam they say how everyone dies, and this episode does that too, and this did it way before that, which is so funny to me. Where, like the in memoriam, it's like they get like train,
yeah, and there's those very detailed drawings. Yes, by the way, that they show all of that shit.
It's a little funnier, and I Think You Should Leave because they come up with such funny ways for them to die. Like the first one's just like heart failure, and they're like, you're not supposed to say how they die, and then they say the next one, they're like throat slashed. and then the last one is like pancaked by drunk dump truck driver. It's pretty good. But I thought that was so funny that they did the in memoriam thing beforehand. Okay, so I do like the idea here that Fry is upset that Farnsworth didn't come to his award ceremony. But also, why wasn't Leela there? Leela wasn't there, was she?
No, nobody was. Why
is he just mad at Farnsworth? His fucking girlfriend should be there.
I don't know. Like I the only thing that kind of made the reason I
just think she should have been there.
I guess, I feel
he can
you.
Be mad at Farnsworth, but he also should be mad at her if she's not there.
I think the reason I excused it was because it looked like it was a family thing. Because like Dwight was there with Hubert didn't come. Like it was Dwight and like Hermes and La Barbara, and like that kid that beat Dwight just kind of had his parents. You know what I mean? So like.
Are there any episodes with Cupert in this back stuff?
No, I have not seen Cupert in months. I don't know.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. I'm trying to think of what episodes he's even in the last
Dude,
run.
I didn't realize until the finale that there's no Nibbler in this run either.
Yes, that's true. He will he's not in this stretch. He's in game. He's a big part of Game of Tones, so you'll see him in that. I don't know what. Yeah, Nibbler takes a big back seat once everyone kind of knows.
You hear him,
yeah. And then they keep doing the thing where he's like still a pet, but also he can talk. I like the idea that he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna get doted
So
on and go for walks.
Yeah,
and,
I'm gonna chill out. Yeah, I'm gonna still chill out. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, but I do like, so this is another one that like brings us back to stuff from earlier episodes, the near Death Star, which is from the episode where Farnsworth like he reveals that he's actually the age where you just get taken away to the near Death Star or whatever and get plugged in and they go and save him. Oh, that's the Cupid episode. That's literally the Cupid episode. Also, this is an episode that Cupid should be in.
He should
meet his crazy.
Right.
Missed opportunities. Cupid and fucking Igner should be
because they like, oh my gosh, and then they go like they come out of like the Death Wish Star and they meet the crew. It's like right. He doesn't bring up like, oh, here's
son. my clone
like,
son. Here's my clone son.
So
I didn't
think
man.
about that.
It's silly. Yeah. They should do that. I don't know. Like, well, yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes in the next run. But I don't really have any hope that they'll ever acknowledge the Igner thing, which bums me out. I just like, why even do it? It's like it's one of the only redeeming parts of Bender's game to me. And I'm like, wait, why are you doing this if you're going to just ignore it forever? Especially because they connect at the end. Like, fucking do it. I like the line at the end of Bender's game when they hug and Igner laughs and goes, "We eated the crystals." Because it's funny. I like, and also there's a funny juxtaposition with those characters because one's so dumb and one's so smart. Like there's just opportunity there. I'm bummed they're not
because you
doing
usually and you usually see the opposite, right? You think like Dexter's Lab or like Jimmy Neutron, like the son is always like the prodigy, and then the dad is just kind of like stupid.
Think about
they don't.
I think I've said this before, but think about how you could do the Cupid Igner relationship. They're like brothers technically,
that's
you know,
true,
and like
that's true, so.
Make them go on a family trip and like have conflict because they're such different fucking kinds of people. Oh well. Maybe one day. We got a lot more coming up. We'll see. At least 20 more. Okay. So, but I got one major problem in this episode though. It's one joke that I hate.
Talk to me.
How are they going to punch up at the Matrix? How are you going to you?
But bro,
come on,
that's some Family Guy shit. That like just stopping the plot to just talk about how you feel, how critical you are about how the movies are written.
They are right. They are right that the idea of humans being used as batteries, like scientifically, doesn't make much sense. But like, it doesn't matter because in the context of that movie it fucking works and creates that dystopian society. Like if you can just suspend your disbelief about the science of it for a moment, it's a fucking great movie. But the idea they like rip on, they tear into that movie like the crummiest, laziest science fiction concept ever, and I'm like, bro, is this the run of episodes that you want to put that joke in?
No, this is the wrong cartoon for this shit, bro. Like you can't. I'm sorry.
I love this show so much. But come on.
Like, and that's not to say that when Futurama does the science fiction-y shit that makes no sense, it's not fun and it's not funny, because it absolutely is.
Yes.
But come on, fam.
Totally.
Like the amount of ridiculous shit that we've had to excuse throughout these 2 hours of this podcast.
If you're gonna tell me that the whole writing staff of Futurama hates the Matrix, sorry, but my respect's moving down a little. I love y'all, but like The Matrix is a perfect screenplay. It's a great fucking movie. It's incredible. God damn, I love it's so good. Anyways, that's the one problem I have this episode. But my note is just like truly punching above your weight class, y'all. Come on.
Yeah, I get you. And then, like I said, it is that was one of those things where it's like this doesn't even like feel like a like a Futurama thing. Like it really is like the kind of thing that like Stewie and Brian would have like a back and forth about this for like
Right.
2 minutes
Right.
or something. You know what I mean?
It's the I did not
I
care
did not
for
care for the Godfather.
Yeah, it's like exactly that.
It insists upon itself. Man, sometimes
upon itself.
I watch that so because it gets shared a lot. That's one of the Family Guy moments
Yeah.
that everybody talks about, but rightfully so because it's so fucking funny. Like they're about to die, and then it's just I gotta let everybody know I didn't like the guy, and then like Chris, because that's one thing that they maintain throughout the whole show is that Chris knows movies.
Right.
Like there's an episode like from like 2-3 years ago where they parody I think it's called the talented Mr.
Ripley.
Fuck. Yeah, the talented Mr. Ripley. And Stewie calls it Hitchcockian, and he's like, it's not a Hitchcock movie. Like, and he's like Chris knows, and he's explaining it to him. But yeah, Family Guy tangent.
I love that.
Yeah.
I gotta watch more Family Guy. I'm excited. Well, no shit. I almost unveiled the idea.
The
plan. Their secret plans. Can't tell you guys.
Plan.
I'll just say I'm excited.
How many?
I really like the little montage of Fry spending the day with what is it? Graham and Shabadoo is what he calls him or whatever.
Yeah. I think when he said it, Leela's like, what?
Yeah, what? They do bumper cars. I think the visual of Farnsworth in a bumper car outside of the bumper car thing with his binoculars is very funny. I like that they go to Fry doing a holophoner recital. I forgot we get a little holophoner moment here.
Yeah.
I love that Fry never gave up on the goddamn holophoner. It's really great. And I like the visual of Farnsworth sneaking around. Like there's that shot where Leela and Amy are up and they just see him sneaking around and they're just like, what
it's
the
good.
fuck? It's really funny.
That shit is great. I love not even right before, it's like right after the montage, I think. There's that when Professor's parents come back to Planet Express, Hermes is saying all of those really mean like you're old jokes to them. But Bender is high-fiving him, and I love that too. Like there's Bender and
they've got
Hermes
their
bonding.
connection again. Yeah, they've still got their connection. That's right. They would never would have done that before their episode together. How do you like that?
It's good shit.
Oh, good.
I love it. It doesn't end with a joke. I love this episode, dude.
This is a good episode.
He reprograms their retirement home, and then when he goes and he switches to being a kid, oh my god,
I know, man.
It's so good.
That is truly like it's funny that I never disliked this episode, but I just never thought much about it, and I don't know why I never thought about how good of a heartfelt ending that is. That is like up there. It is an up there one. Like that is amongst the best in the whole series of like your good emotional endings. And it's like, and Farnsworth rarely gets those. Farnsworth doesn't get those as often as other characters.
I love it.
The one thing that I think it works. It raises more questions. Is the whole miscommunication about the being institutionalized or whatever, right? Like he was put in the mental institution, and his parents thought that he was the younger brother, but really he was the older brother. And then they just kind of brush over like, oh, so he's got a younger brother somewhere that he doesn't even know about. And then Bender's that sick joke. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I was, because the Bender joke like helped me ignore it, I guess. Cause I was like, wait, so like how much episode is left? He has a brother. What the fuck are you talking? But then,
I would like to see that followed up, even though they won't,
I would too,
because it's just so written off.
Yeah,
but also like, aren't they gonna? They're like, that's the other thing is like, I love this ending, but like, shouldn't they all be a little concerned about where the other one is? Like, shouldn't they be like, wait, there's another one of us out there? And then also like, and then also. The only other thing about the reveal that I was like a little like, oh, this was maybe handled a little clumsily is they tell the whole story about him being institutionalized, and then it's like the big reveal that he's the other brother, and he's amazed and they're amazed, and then they're like, but wait, weren't you in the institution? And he's just like, oh no, I got out after 20 years. And I'm like, wait, didn't you just listen to that whole story and you didn't put it together? Like, you know what I mean?
That it was
yeah,
you
like that you were in an institution for that long.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's true.
It's not that big a deal, but and it also kind of conflicts. Well, I'll have to look back, but there's the episode in the other one where he goes to the near Death Star for the first time.
And they do the doc about his life.
The doc about his life. So I'm curious. I would like to go back and look and see if there's anything about that really conflicts with this new canon that they've established here. But minor things, because overall good, really good, and like good emotional beats. Them reconnecting is great. Yeah, it's great. I guess his brother's name is Floyd, and now he's a homeless rodeo clown. I hope they find him one day. What if they threw him in the background of some shit just to like, that would be a fun, they used to do that a lot where they would just throw stuff in the background that would like Leela's parents and stuff. And the guy with the number 9 on his shirt who's in the show for the whole time. Yeah. Great episode. This is a great episode. It's really, really good.
I love, this is like, I don't know. This whole time we've been watching these, I don't think I've seen a Futurama episode that I hadn't seen before that I loved. And so this was like, I love that. This is my shit. I like this one a lot.
Love to hear that. All right, let's move on to the one that we both find boring. 31st Century Fox. There's just so much about this episode that also just doesn't, even with the fact that I find this boring. Like if I'm looking at the details of it, there's just stuff that like I'm just like, even on a sci-fi Futurama level, none of this shit makes sense to me. Like there's a joke at the beginning I laughed at a lot, which is Bender jumping out of the ship on a horse. And I go, where'd you get the horse? He goes, none of your business. And then he turns and it just says NYPD. Like the idea that he stole this from a cop is really funny to me. And then it's Patrick Stewart is the guest voice. But like, I don't know, the whole like Bender becoming, it's very Bender to do one thing until it affects robots and then be against it. You know what I mean? Like that's historically a very Bendery thing. Right. When did robot animals become a thing? And then like the fact that they just like, it's not like there's any real sci-fi purpose for them. They just make them regular animals but robots. Like there's a butcher who's butchering robot animal. Like it doesn't, none of it makes sense to me.
And it's like, so are robot animals and like animatronics when they go to the moon, are those different? Like animal, like robot animatronic, like are those different than robot animals? Like
the sailors, like think about the in the second episode, Sailors on the Moon, the goofy gophers. Are those robot animals?
Right.
Or are those, what's the difference? I don't know, man. Yeah.
It's stupid. I don't I couldn't focus on this one. It was boring, but it is so pretty. This episode is gorgeous.
Pretty episode.
They do a lot of stuff with shading. There's like a couple shots where they're walking through the woods and like you see like it's casting the shadows of like the leaves of the trees on their face. Like not even just on their face, but on like their body. Like while they're walking through, it's not even just like standard shading. Like it's like cool shit. There's like some cool looking shit in this one. It's just kind of like everything else I just can't.
I think it's a boring episode, and it's a Patrick Verone who's a great writer. He's written so many good episodes, and it's a little bit of a dud for me. Let's just move on. I don't care about this episode.
Wait, I do have when they're chasing the fox, they see that it got on the train to Jersey, and they say it got on the PATH train. The PATH train is a real thing. So I was like, oh, okay.
They know their shit.
Yeah, there really is. And then instead of good news, everyone, Professor says Fox News, everyone.
Fox News, everyone. Yeah. It's pretty funny. It's pretty good.
Yeah. That's all I got. That's cool.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is a pretty good episode. Viva Mars Vegas. I think this is a fun one. They've never they do the heist thing, It's a Ocean's 11 basically. Physical intro sequence, pretty cool.
Yeah, my first note is like a sea of question marks because I'm like, what the fuck?
Whoever made that, super cool.
It's
and then I
cool.
really liked
It's
how
cool.
they, for the video clip, they did a flip book of reincarnation. They did a flip book shot of reincarnation, or it might have been from. There's a chance that it was from
Beast.
one of the movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Beast with a Billion Backs. It would have been, but one of those. And it's just fucking cool, really cool. I like that a lot.
Oh, you know what? This episode made me wonder: are they gonna recast Amy's dad?
I never. Probably they probably will. I think that's very likely is what I'll say. Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. It seems like they're doing that.
I was thinking,
yeah, because it's Billy West, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Billy West.
Yeah. That sounds like something they'll be doing. They're just this is what they're doing these days. It's gonna happen. Okay, so I know you're not a Star Wars guy, but the robot mafia stealing from Jar Jar Banks is very funny.
Oh, I didn't even catch that, dude.
Well, it's like that's what the aliens are, and that's why they goes, "These are very, very bad." And honestly, the delivery of that Jar Jar line made me laugh a lot. I thought it was very funny. But I like anything Robot Mafia. Love the Robot Mafia getting involved. First time we've gone to Mars Vegas since Into the Wild Green Yonder. I like that it's back. Even though it should have been acknowledged in Farewell to Arms. Doesn't make any sense that it wasn't. But so I mean, Mars Vegas, it takes so much of Into the Wild Green Yonder takes place on Mars and in Mars Vegas, which I always thought was such a cool... I loved the design of Mars Vegas and that. The opening sequence of Into the Wild Green Yonder that Seth sings is so great, where they're flying around Mars Vegas. Love that shit. So I like that we're going back because Mars Vegas is a cool location. It feels like Futurama should have enough. There should be more other cities besides New York that we're visiting regularly. You know what I mean? Like, I love New York, but like, how come we've been to LA and it's just like gross. And what else have we been to? Not much.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. This episode also feels like it like kind of reconciles with all the shit they did with the native Martians in like previous episodes. You know what I mean? Like, it actually seems like it's trying to reconcile with like them utilizing the real life parallel that they've been, their land was taken over, and that they're and it did a decent job of it. I like the result in the end, basically. But yeah, I also think Rich Zoidberg is funny. Hey, Rich Lobster.
I love it. When he's playing like Black. Oh my god, it's so fun. Like, and he keeps winning.
He gets up to like 110 million, and then he's just like, do it again.
Shit.
Yeah, classic. And
I love it.
And I like when they get mad at him. He's just like, easy come, easy go.
So what?
Yeah.
I ain't never had nothing anyway, so it doesn't. I don't care. It don't matter to me. I feel him. I like that. I like that shit.
I love that when they get back and they're all hungover, Fry's like, I feel fine, and he turns his face and he has that crazy tattoo on his face. He's like the Mike Tyson tattoo. Yeah. Hate the joke afterwards where they show him in the mirror and he says, oh, Amy's mirror has a tattoo. Bad joke, dumb joke. Sorry, don't like it.
That's such a funny joke to be mad at. It's so funny.
It just doesn't even make sense to me. There's nothing about it that makes sense. I hate it. I think it's a bad joke.
Oh man, that's funny.
I love the line when Zoidberg comes in because the robot mafia is after him, covered in ink. And he goes, you gotta hide me or it's curtains for Johnny Z. That is great. I love that line.
Curtains for Johnny Z.
So good. Love that a lot. And I also like that they used Fry's tattoo for the like whole Weird Inc. sci-fi laser premise where it like
Mm-hmm.
turns it invisible, and that turns Zoidberg invisible,
Right.
which gives them the idea to do the heist in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a fun episode. It's a fun
Yeah.
Zoidberg one. Yeah, and he's paired up
Invisible
with Amy, but
Zoidberg is fun too in
yes,
general.
yes,
I think,
totally.
yeah.
I like Viva Mars Vegas. I think it's a quality, solid
Pretty
episode.
good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have like a ton to say about it, but I do like, and then I do like at the end they basically give the casino over to the native Martians, right? That's right. So
Yeah.
trying to,
And I do. We talked about it before, but I like that I never considered the possibility of a Zoidberg and Amy episode, and we got
right,
one. I'm always a big fan of because Hey Arnold used to do shit like this, like when
right.
you just pick a pair,
Yes.
a random pair, dude, and then just kind of do whatever.
Totally.
Like,
and that's what Lethal Inspection is so good. It's that Hermes and Bender stuff. And it looks like we're getting, from the trailers, it appears as though the Christmas episode coming up, I Know What You Did Next Xmas, will be a Bender and Zoidberg episode, which is nice. Like, what have we? I don't think we've ever gotten a Bender and Zoidberg episode.
Right.
Not that I can think of.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's exciting. Okay. Let's move on to the anthology of these 13, Naturama. I'm going to be honest, I didn't take any notes because I don't like this.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of people who like it. I put it really low in my Futurama ranking video, and I get a lot. It's one of the episodes that I get a lot of comments of people being upset that I put so low. People like this episode. I can't bring myself to care about.
I can't say that there's stuff that I like about it, but I don't.
Sure, jokes.
If you had it low, like I don't think I would care.
And it's like, I mean, I get it. They're showing us real. They're teaching us real nature science about these things through the Futurama characters. I get it. Cool. We're learning about salmon life cycle. We're learning about these tortoises who live forever. We're learning about the elephant seal. We're learning about, there's even more in there. We're learning about the I can't remember what kind of birds they're called. The birds that Darwin studied to determine to develop the theory of evolution, whose beaks get bigger depending on what part of the island they're on, so that they can crack nuts better. It's like I get it. There's cool, interesting nature knowledge to be held here. I just don't care. Like, I don't know, man. I'm fine with the non-canon episodes where they just do whatever. I don't know. Like, I just miss the What If Machine, because the other thing about the What If Machine that works, that I miss, is that the framing device taking place in the real world means that it still has a impact on our characters because they witness this what if scenario. It's not just a thing that's out in the ether that it's like, we're going to watch this anthology of things that didn't actually happen canonically,
Yeah.
And so I miss that aspect, that even though they're all stories that aren't canonical, there's something about, like, I miss that it has a connection to what we're following all along,
I'm with you.
What do you like? Do you like anything about this episode? What do you like?
Well, okay. They got it's a couple lines in here that I really like, but also, like, first and foremost, the designs. A lot of these designs are so funny.
Yeah,
especially like the birds. Like the Hermes bird with the dreads. It's so funny.
They do
love it.
They have good designs. That's true.
Yeah, the fish, the fry fish. I love that cute little fry fish. It's great. I love.
Who makes me feel weird though is the Zap fish. I don't like the Zap fish.
He looks like a dickhead. That's why. Yeah, he's like a fucking asshole. The Zap Brannigan fish. Yeah, no, I agree. Then I got a couple lines I like. I brought up earlier. I brought up help fish police.
Yes, that's right. Yes, funny.
Fish police is a thing, so that was funny.
Fair.
I like. Zap says it's time for us to get naughty by nature, And I was like, whoa. I thought that was funny because of the rap group.
Right.
That this is I didn't I guess I wasn't paying attention, but this is the episode where I was like, oh, I guess Bender's saying "Let's go already" is a runner. I didn't realize it was.
It's a recent runner. It started in Proposition Infinity. So it's like that's
Mm,
another similar to Help Police that was introduced in this Comedy Central era and has pretty much seemingly. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be continue on into the Hulu era.
mm,
But it's it's interesting.
yeah, I didn't even realize it. And then Professor says it's kind of a dumb line that I wrote down because it made me laugh. I kind of feel guilty that it made me laugh. He says, "Harem, I can barely see him." That made me laugh. I felt bad about that.
The
And then
Professor as the tortoise is another design I really like.
it's great. I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
really
It's so
great.
funny.
Yeah.
And Scruffy as the walrus, he's like yeah, like once she go walrus, they never go walrus. Like he gets instantly like sad. I like that too. I thought that. I don't know. This episode is dumb and it's ridiculous, but I got a couple laughs out of it. So like I'm more forgiving of this one than the ones that I have legitimate thematic issues with.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm kind of coming to that. Like this episode just was such a nothing burger for me that it was. I
Mhm.
probably put it lower on my ultimate ranking back when I did that big video than it deserved to be because I just like didn't have any opinions about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And there's also it's just like okay, there's nothing like egregious I dislike about it, but there's also nothing exciting that I really like about it, you know? So it's like it's just in this weird
Right.
middle zone. I'm like, what do I even say about it, you know?
Yeah.
I
Sure.
think I probably would move it up a little bit in my bigger full series ranking. I might have to redo that whole video after this next run of Futurama. We'll see.
Oh man.
I mean, I like the good thing is I've said it'll be less work than last time, but it will still be a lot of work. All right. How do you feel about this
That's
run
it.
overall?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. There's like I said, there's
Probably the worst one.
Yeah, there's probably like 3, 4 maybe that I like, and there's one that I love, and the rest I'm good. I'm just good.
Yeah, I'm pretty much 6. I move into like pretty positive territory, mostly positive territory, and then
Yeah, I would probably.
there's one that's like I
I would
mostly
go
dislike but
similar.
has such a strong ending, and then like everything else under that is like either boring but has a couple things I like, or has some real issues, or I don't know. I mean, even some of these ones that I dislike have things I like. Like I have Decision 2012 pretty low, but that has the whole ending part that I really like.
Mm,
Fun on a Bun has the ending part that I really like, you know? All right. You want to do this ranking?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'll go first, bottom to top. 13, The Butter Junk Effect. 12, Zap Dingbat. 11, Naturama. 10, 31st Century Fox. 9, Decision 3012. 8, Free Will Hunting. 7, Fun on a Bun. 6, The Thief of Baghead. 5, Viva Mars Vegas. 4, The $6 Million Mon. 3, A Farewell to Arms. 2, Near Death Wish. 1, The Bots and the Bees.
Word. Okay. Gotta line up a little bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
I figured we
some
got
parts were all
similar.
over. See, I got 13. I got Decision.
Word,
12.
real low.
12. I got 30th Century Fox. 31st
Okay.
Century Fox. 11. I got Naturama. 10. I got the Butter Junk Effect. 9. I got Zap Dingbat. 8. I got Free Will Hunting. 7. I got The Thief of Baghead. 6. I got A Farewell to Arms. 5. Viva Mars Vegas. 4. Fun on the Bun. 3. The $6 Million Mon. 2. The Bots and the Bees, and 1 Near Death Wish.
Nice.
There
Hell
we
yeah.
go.
I knew the Farewell to Arms would be the difference one. Fun on a Bun pretty high.
Yeah,
the ending is
I
good. The
didn't
ending is
realize.
good.
Yeah, that's
ending
really
is
what that's
good.
what did it. That's what did it.
Yeah, it's true. Cool, man. All right. How do you feel after our first episode back?
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. I mean, I wasn't even like, you know what I mean? Like it was a good time.
Audience, you can't expect these 2.5 to 3 hour episodes moving forward. But
Yeah, nah, man.
I mean, our
You better
episodes.
enjoy.
I imagine when we start covering the new season, which we'll be doing single episodes. We'll probably. I bet we'll get up close to an hour, but like you'll get them every week. We'll be covering new stuff. It's gonna be exciting because you can follow along with us. And then the new format, we're not gonna be doing this long, but the new format will allow us to just be making more content for you. So, and we're really excited about it. Once we and we'll reveal to you all of that information over the next few months as we cover the new season.
Soon.
Make sure to check out the Patreon if you want more episodes. We got a lot of bonus stuff up there. Thank you guys so much for being patient and waiting for this. I know it's been so long since we've done an episode, but you're about to get
I can't believe we just did the shit.
I know, and you're going to get another one soon. We're trying to record another one in like 2 days or like 3 days or something like that. So, keep an eye out for another one of these.
Keep
very
watching
fast.
the skis.
Yeah,
skies.
I think the plan will basically be like you should probably expect 7B maybe over the weekend or the beginning of next week, and then at some point in the middle of next week you'll get the one about the premiere of the next season, and then we'll pretty much be on a like I imagine. I mean, timing wise, we'll probably want to do like Tuesday records for new episodes makes sense. So I'm guessing we'll be putting them out on Wednesdays. Wednesday seems like the fair bet for the new Futurama episodes. And keep an eye out for all of that stuff. And I don't know. You got anything else? You want to plug anything? This is the main feed again.
The end of the pod on the main feed. Every Monday on my channel, I do Monopoly Monday.
That's right.
To help raise funds for my indie pilot. Hey, even if you can't donate even if you just send $1, even that helps. That's $1 we had before we even started the damn stream. But if you can't, that's cool too. Just hang out and watch a bunch of friends play Monopoly. Just last night we did. It was me, the Wacky Deli, Hats Off Media, Man of 1,000 Thoughts, and Jordan French. Up there, gave y'all 4 hours of Monopoly Monday before the damn game crashed.
The game crashed?
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, dude, it was the worst, but it's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got.
Hell yeah. I don't know. I just put out a Venture Bros video. I'm going to be covering the new season of Futurama on my channel as we go. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be 10. I'm going to do all 10 episodes. I'm going to be breaking down probably the Monday they come out. I'm just going to be cranking those out. So keep an eye out for those if you want more Futurama analysis. And I don't know. Stay tuned. We're back. We're going to stay back, and we have big plans. I know we said that a lot, but we're both like stoked. We're both stoked again on the pod because we have an idea that's exciting that isn't going to consume our lives. It's cool. We're stoked. So
man, it's been a while since we've done a podcast episode and like the sun went down.
For you, wow. I'm in the West.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I'm out West.
We started this at like 3:00 and it's like 6:30. Right. You know what I mean?
I gotta go to the gym in an hour. I don't want to
get big. You know what I mean? Yeah, there it is.
Let's do it. I guess that's it. Check out the Patreon. We got a bunch of bonus episodes. Sir. Check out our channels. And stay tuned. We got a lot coming. And with that, I want to thank Jake Neutron for an amazing theme song. I want to thank Carrie Feek for our artwork. I want to thank Michael Yunez for producing and editing the podcast. He also co-hosts our After Dark episodes, and he's great. All of our Patreons, that
man's a staple.
Our patrons all came for us and stayed for Mikey.
That's right.
He's great. Right. We'll probably have him on the main feed in some regard as well. So keep an eye out for that. We know you've seen them before.
Mhm.
And we want to thank all of you for being patient and waiting and still watching, hopefully, now that we're back.
Right.
And we want to thank all our patrons for helping support us and you know, giving us money to give them bonus content. We love you guys. You're great. But also with that, thank you very much. See you later.
Ain't heard that in a while, have you?
Yeah.